Okay, live. Now, let's take a look at this. I am working on a couple different elements for the Summoners Nexus TCG at the moment. Primarily right now, I need to establish a few things. There was an update that I got for the soundtrack that I need to listen to. There was a delivery on some new runes that I need to put into my database. And what else? Just some general just some general issues that need to be attended to today. So that's what I'm gonna be about. And I figured I might as well do that while live. If we manage to if we do in fact manage to get some actual playtesting done today, that would be great. But if not, that is going to be absolutely fine, because honestly, I looked over the cards again. Oh, and I need to add some cards to TTS. Yeah, there's a lot to do. Kofa, how you doing, friend? What's good? And Neo, what's good? What's good with you guys? It's good to see you guys. Yeah, still wearing a suit. Got back from work. I'm out here. I'm living life. I'm doing what it is. I noticed today that my hair has gotten so much longer, and I don't know when I'm going to actually like trim it, but for now, it's fine. Right? Yeah. So what it's going to be is, it has been, things have changed a lot since the last time I done seen you, right? Basically doing an entirely different channel, an entirely different setup. Not really Yu-Gi-Oh, not really mainstream, but having fun working on Nexus, right? Now I need to listen to this. Well, I have listened to it, but I need to give feedback on this, like accurate and specific feedback. So that's the first thing I want to do while I'm live. Today is more of a housekeeping kind of day, right? It's a day to take stock of, I mean, again, some testing could potentially be nice as well. But more importantly, I want to put my house in order, as it were, right? And just make sure that everything is where and what it needs to be. So first things first, let's listen to this. I hope it's not too loud. Maybe a bit louder, actually. How loud is it for you guys? I feel like that should be a bit louder just so I can test it. Yeah, time to keep the house, right? I was so lost when I saw the notification. Yeah, this is what I've been doing for a little bit. I've been just sorting things out and whatnot. I think this should still be louder, and also, I have a problem with this, right? I don't know how well you can hear that, but this is a music that's supposed to play when two players battle, right? And I just don't love it. It uses the melody from the main theme in the way some of the other songs do. Like, if you've heard the other songs that we have for the project, if I open, where would it be? If I open up, let me get my phone out so I can actually see if anyone says something in the chat. YouTube, right? It's gotten to a point where, okay, and I'll just mute this. I like it. I mean, that's good. That is good. Thank you for that feedback, because I also need that. I feel like, listen to this. Listen to, where is it? It will be in Nexus music. So all of the music, or a lot of the music that we have, is based on this theme that a lot of you will have heard before, right? This one. And the theme that they take, the part of the theme that they base it on is a da-da-da-da-da. Where is it? Not this part. Right? Not this part. Not this. It's taking longer than I thought to get there, but also I like the song, so I'm gonna let it play. This part. Right? So the chorus, basically. Just takes the chorus. You've never heard this? You've never heard? This is the main thing for Summoners Nexus. This was done a year and a half ago. I just assumed everyone had heard it. It's gonna be on YouTube soon anyway. Right? So, you get the general idea. So if you go through the different themes, like for example, the theme that's going to play like on the main menu screen, and just like when you're doing things in the app, is this, right? So it starts relatively just like, okay, this is the one that we play every day. This is the one that we play every day when we're in TTS, right? So it starts off just being a regular fun melody. And if I'm not mistaken, it comes in like here. Yeah, it's slower, but it's based on the same it's based on the same melody, right? So you know the that happens at the beginning? That's what that part is based on. It's not here. It's this. Right? So they use that for some parts of it, and then they use the other one, the chorus, for different parts. So this new theme that the what do they call them? Composer has made is based. It does the beginning part regular, or she made something new for the beginning part, and then reference the old melody, right? And she did it with horns. At first she did it with keyboards, and I was like, that doesn't work. She's done it with horns now. This first part is fine, right? Bit dramatic for my taste, but I feel like it's fine. Like, you know, with Master Duel, when you hear the Master Duel theme for battle, it's like, it feels iconic to a degree. I feel like this is a bit too intense, right? Now this comes in. I'm fine with that part. I don't love this part. Am I overthinking this? And then this next part is fine. Exactly, right? It feels like this is the theme that would play. Like, you know when your life points get lower to a certain point? This is what that theme feels like, right? And maybe that's what it should be for, actually. Maybe, I think that perspective makes me feel better about it. Could be good or bad depending on who you ask. How long do you think it's going to take for everything to come out? So if you mean on YouTube, a while, there's like, I have the entire OST that's been completed so far, listed and ready to go, so that 2 videos come out per week. In terms of the actual game coming out, we're making a lot of progress. We did hit a roadblock today, if I'm being completely honest, so time to get that off my chest. So I've been working with some developers from Pakistan. It's been going fine. It's gotten the app to where it currently is. In fact, we're about ready to close the milestone and move to the next milestone. Now, here's the 2 key issues, right? There's a bit of a language barrier. I've had a discussion with the team, with Bilal and everything, and it's like, look, every time we hop on for like a video meeting and do a proper like call, it apparently goes over his head. And I was like, what do you mean? We speak English when we talk to each other. And what I've realized is I'm assuming it comes down to a barrier in language, because when I speak, it seems like he's understanding me, but then we go back to work and it's like nothing that I talked about gets done, even though he says he's taking notes and it looks like he's taking notes. But whenever I just write down my instructions as clearly as I can, there are still sometimes issues, but it's better. And what I've come to realize is, I think, this is just a working theory, that they use Google Translate to get my instructions across, and that maybe their English isn't as strong as it potentially could be, which is fine. I understand that. That's okay. And that we will be able to get by on certain issues with that. But when it comes to the more intricate and fine-tuned topics, like for example the actual gameplay in the app, where like with how intricate and specific certain systems will need to be, I feel like it is going to be necessary to have someone fluent in English, because yes, I can type things and make it as clear as I can, but it would be so much easier just being able to say to someone, hey, this is what to do, explain this, show them a video, or just something, right? Like, they're supposed to come to some playtesting sessions, which is why I assume their English is good enough. And not even assume, I've had conversations in English with these people, but whenever I give instructions in English specifically, it's an issue. So I'm hoping that when they playtest, they get a good idea for it. But what I then realized is, we put the code on a GitHub repository, which is something that one of my friends who I brought on as a consultant instructed that we do. That way different people can see and access the source code rather than it just being behind the scenes, because I like how things are on the front end, but the back end is a lot more technical. So I've got someone looking over that. And then I was like, wait a second, if the code can be updated and just overlap and you can merge things that people do, why not bring on an English speaker to work on the more fine-tuned parts, because Bilal and his team work on the bulk of the game because their price is cheaper. A lot of the more expensive English speakers just tend to be more expensive in the field and everything because of location and whatnot, currency exchange. So bring them on for just the more refined tactical parts to do, and then have the team I'm working with do the full app. And I'm like, okay, cool, this is a great idea. I asked the consultant, is this going to work, my friend? He's like, oh yeah, that can work. It's difficult, but it can work. So I start reaching out to developers who speak English, and I keep getting responses back of either I don't like to work with other people or my schedule's too busy. So that hasn't panned out the way that I wanted it to yet. I'm still waiting to hear back from a few people, but as good of a solution as that would be, because I'm nervous about the actual like mechanics working the way that they need to. So I am that's on shaking ground, but I'm still pushing for that, looking to see if I can find someone who speaks English with enough experience in code to be able to fill in the gaps of what this current team is doing. Now, aside from that, a different thing is that because I don't know the code that well, I need someone to go in and take a look at the back end, which is something that my friend is helping me do as a consultant for free. But I thought I'd also bring on a paid consultant to try and help with that. And what he's told me is that the code that I've been given doesn't have something that's supposed to make it run. I don't fully understand the technical parts of it, but I need more files from the actual developer. And again, it comes back to the current developer where he didn't upload everything that you would need to run it, apparently. I asked my friend, the consultant, and he was like, you won't really need to run it if you're just looking at the code. So that's a normal thing to have happen. But it's just extra roadblocks and just trying to get, I want to verify that the back end actually works the way it's supposed to. Not because it looks nice. If I show you the app right now, it looks like it's working properly. Everything looks great. It's awesome. But then if on the back end, it's like, it could just be smoke and mirrors, which I don't want to assume is the case. Obviously, good faith is important. But to be safe, I want to confirm the back end before I pay for this milestone and move to the next thing. So that's just added another hurdle. I've asked my friend to help me upload the parts that were missing that the developer sent across. He said that he sent them, the files that he sent are too hefty to be what they're supposed to be. And so he's worried about malware. And I'm like, I wouldn't expect it to be malware, but fine. So now I have to download it and upload. I don't know how all of that is going to work because I don't know the technical jargon of stuff, but I've downloaded that today. So again, there's a lot of stuff going on. I like to imagine, at least with Master Duel, as a dungeon, and when you first enter, it's almost an eerie feeling that gets intense with the dungeon begins to shake, action gets dire. I like that idea, right? Where it's like, okay, it starts off just different things. Like, I'm thinking of paying for a music pack in Unity instead of having everything composed fresh, and then maybe just using a dramatic theme like this for when life points get low. That could be a vibe. I'm from India, I can understand both languages. I feel like it shouldn't be as hard as it is, but it is. Happens more you guys work together, the better you get, most likely. Just make sure you guys take your time. Better take a long time to come out and polish than to be rushed. Oh yeah, absolutely. We were supposed to be done with the current milestone a month ago, but I have just refused to accept the... I don't want to come off as being elitist, but I think when a lot of people come to you for a project, they might be willing to accept, let's just say, lower standards of quality. That is not me. That and I feel, because like, for example, I think a lot of people might be more comfortable putting out certain things that have less polish on them. I like my work to be polished. I like my I's to be dotted and my T's to be crossed. I don't like things that don't look like they came from a professional place, right? Like, if you had seen the first version of the app that they sent, it was exciting, but it looked like a fan. I was about to say a fan project. If anything, it's an indie game, but like, it looked like an indie game where it's like, there's nothing wrong with indie games, but I mean something that someone who's like 14 threw together or something like that. And again, it's not to be rude. It's just that I feel like most people who are making a project like this, not even most people, some people might be willing to accept that, but it's not. So I redesigned all of the UI myself. I told them, you know what? I don't want your graphics team touching the game. Their team didn't do... If anything, their graphics team has taken parts of my graphics and used them to make more graphics, and that's it, right? The graphics in the game are currently made by me, and that's kind of the thing. But yeah, it is what it is. Yo, Simo, how you doing? Thank you very, very much. Right, I got a trim for the first time in like 5 years today, so that was nice. You might need to translate it more than a coder. Yes and no. So you know what I was talking about when it comes to like, okay, the level of quality that I'm willing to accept versus what I think their average client might be willing to accept. Aside from the language barrier, at times I do wonder if with the hiccups that we run into, I fully trust the team to work on the finer mechanics. So I think I might, if I had realized that this was an option sooner, I might have opted to try and bring in someone else to tackle that aspect of the code. Anyway, if I can't find anyone, then yeah, I think a translator is a better shot. But if not, it is what it is, right? Saw some of the mechanics video and it looked interesting. Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, that's more information, more stuff coming out as we go, but that's where we're at right now. How much has everything costed so far? Don't ask me that question. Don't ask me that. We're in the thousands by now, 100%, especially if you count in the Webtoon panels that weren't for Webtoon, but will now be used as a story mode for the game. We are well into the thousands. Like well into it. It's funny you asked, because yesterday I wanted to sit down and do a full calculation, because if at a certain point I will be taking this to investors, but I don't want to take a half-baked idea to them. I want to take something functional. But as things stand right now, I am no less than... It's got to be at least £6,000. No, more than 6,000. What am I saying? That's a low ball. We're probably nearing the £10,000 mark. Probably. If we take everything that I've put into it, because that's the music, the icons, the art for the cards, the art for the panels, the game development. You have the what's it called? The animation, like all of that coming in together. But what makes me happy is that I know that I've done everything, or I feel there were obviously mistakes along the way. I don't think for the quality that things are running at, I could have done it any cheaper than I did. So I don't really have any regrets on that front. Yeah, 5 years. 5 years. Ever since I got my hair dreaded, I had never gone to a barber. No, that's a bit of a lie. I've never been to a barber for the first 4 to 5 years, but for my cousin's wedding, I was one of the groomsmen, and so I used the razor that I used to shave my face. I touched myself up for the first time this December, but obviously that's not a professional thing, and I didn't like properly do a trim. So this was my first trim in 5 years. Yes. Cost and amount. Dang, man, don't go bankrupt. I'm excited for the final product. I know I'm not always active but excited. Hey, don't worry about it. It is what it is. Once you get the groundwork laid, though, I think it'll be better. Building the app, building the ship is harder than sailing. Exactly. That's my prayer and my hope, that once we get that traction that we need, once we actually have the ship together, it gets easier, right? Because, for example, I know that next month, well, I don't know this. I'm planning next month potentially to do a 1,600 pound order with the card artist, because they've done 77 cards for the base game, because they're the ones who do the art for the monsters. I had a delivery in for the runes today, actually. Another 28 runes got done today. So I need to turn these into cards. So I have the card templates made. I got someone to make the card templates, got someone to make the art. Someone else made the backgrounds that comes with the monsters, and I put it all together myself. So these runes need to be added in. These are some generic runes. But monsters are obviously a lot more expensive. So I'm planning on doing just 1,600 and having him work on the art for the next, so all of the cards that are coming out on release are ready. What I now want to do is get the art for the next period, right? The next section that we're going to be moving into. I'm in two minds, because it's like, okay, do I wait until the game is actually like ready before getting the rest of the art? But then there's a lot of factors, like, okay, what if something happens to the artist in that time and they're no longer available to do the art? Does the art style just change? What if prices go up? What if... There's just a lot of what ifs, and so I'd like to try and get more down on paper to be certain, right? Once the launch happens, it's just adding story-wise things and adding cards. It gets mechanics too, though. Yeah, exactly, but once it's running for the most part. Just out of curiosity, when can we expect a marketing push? Low-key been trying to plant these seeds to some friends to check out this project. So, the marketing push is going to start once an alpha is ready. Right, once I've got the base 30 cards, right? Because here's how it's going. We're making the app. we just finished the deck builder system. Next we need to start on the actual mechanics, the turn system. You pay your life points, you summon your cards, the cards battle, awesome. Then we need to before we get into the effects, we need to get the guild system and the shop system in play. The player account system is already running, but I want to add finer player details to that. Then we go into the effects of the first 30 cards, and we do the effects in batches. Once the effects of the first 30 cards are in place, an actual battle can happen, which means that different people can be sent the app on test flight and be like, hey, you can actually play against other people for this time period. That's when I want to start. Obviously, there's going to be a lot more work to do because we're starting with 122 cards. That's just the base 30. Right? So playtesting can start with the base 30 in the app, and then we go from there effectively. Yeah, there's a guild system. I've got a lot of plans. I've got a lot of things fleshed out, but that's what it is. How much are you planning on selling the game on Steam, etc? So far, we don't even have the Steam build ready to go. Steam is going to be an entirely different thing. I'm planning on going with a free-to-play model, just like the Duel Links is and the Master Duels of the world, and then having paid content, primarily skins, mats, icons, and then you can do pulls for cards, but I've got a rarity system that hopefully I don't want to be predatory. I just want to be affordable. I want to be able to afford the game, and so there will be a system in place that hopefully allows players to not have to like gamble and throw their lives away. There is going to be gambling, but there's also going to be like a featured card system and a featured pack system to make it more affordable, and trading as well. Like it's going to be an actual trading card game, but again, to avoid going bankrupt, it's going to be limited to certain ways, basically. I get people to test if you want. That would be great when the time comes. People with iPhones, ideally, that way we can use Test Flight. Builds can be sent out on Android, but it's easier to update using Test Flight. So yeah, that's it. What's the financial model? It is going to be, again, it's a gacha. It's a gacha because you pull for the cards that you want and whatnot. So I have part of it done. Learn from Konami, exactly, right? It's going to be financial. It's going to be a gacha at heart, where you will have banners of like featured banners that will come out, and you use the in-game currency to get that, and you can buy the in-game currency. But also there's going to be a trade system. Trade system will be limited to a degree, so that if you really want something and you're not getting it out of the pulls, go for the trade system. There's also going to be featured banners to increase the rates of certain cards. That way, if you're not getting what you want out of the standard banner, you just wait for the banner you want to come around, and then either weekly or daily, haven't figured it out yet, featured just random cards will come up in the shop, not that you would have to pull for, but it's like, oh, that's a specific card I want. Rather than gambling, I'm gonna just get it, right? And so you can spend money on in-game currency, or you can play the game for the in-game currency and build it up similar to like a regular Duel Links kind of thing. There's also going to be free story content, but there will also be like paid story content, like DLC kind of stuff, if you want that. But it won't be essential to play the game, like story bundles and packs that will come with cosmetics and currency and whatnot. How else do I plan on making money? There's going to be events. Yeah, I can talk about this. I'm planning on doing a Nexus Lock event. You know how Nuzlocks happen with Pokemon and everything, where it's like, okay, your Pokemon faints, it dies, it's gone forever. I already have the mechanics of an event like that planned out, where at the start, on the first day of the event, you log on, you pull for 30 random cards. Cool, awesome. Those are your cards for the event. You'll go through some story mode elements. There's going to be a story mode behind it that'll be written for it, and you have battles against AI opponents. And if a monster gets destroyed, boom, it's gone. You can't put that in your decks for the rest of the event. Every set number of things, you'll be able to get an encounter and get some more cards, or you can pay to get more cards if you're really bad at the game, but at that point, it's a skill issue. Right? That's a way I'm planning on using events to also try and generate revenue. So yeah, that's another thing. A lot of ideas, right? But yeah, what if trade was based on tokens that you could only get after so many summons? That is a great idea. I'm screenshotting that. That's a great idea, Nick. That's actually a great idea. So basically, up until now, what the trade system was going to be was you enter a guild, right? There are guilds, maximum 30 players in one guild. You enter a guild, and after being a member of that guild for 90 days, you can then enter the guild trade section, where you can trade a card with one of your guild members of the same rarity, but every player was only going to get one trade per month. A token system could encourage more pools while also avoiding it becoming predatory, where you can just trade. I think that might actually be better than guild trades, but I need to actually sit down and see if it fits into the rest of the infrastructure that's already been built around that. But thank you for that. That's a great idea. Right? I love that. What do you think about Marvel Snap's free to play with season pass model? If you have seen it. Oh yeah, I love Marvel Snap. I just don't think I would do a model like that because again, like they give you the cards and how you level up is by increasing the cards rarity and like I it's interesting, but it's very unique to them, I think, right? It's very unique to them. There will be season passes in my game, but I don't really plan on having any cards exclusive to the season pass 1 and 2. I prefer a system where no matter what level, because you know they have the pool series, pool 1, pool 2, pool 3. I prefer a system where no matter where you are in your career, you can get lucky or you can trade for a specific card that you want and just start playing the game in the way that you want. Because with Marvel Snap, while I loved it, there are people who I saw who it's like, okay, I want to play the Destroy deck or I want to play the Movement deck, but until I get to pool 3 after playing for like 3 weeks, I will not have the cards to be able to play the way I want, and I don't want that for my game, right? So that's part of it. A draft series, there's going to be a draft. What's it called? Summoner Clash. I think that's what I named it. Basically, it's a series where you will be able to. Again, you get 30 random cards at the start of it, and then it's a PvP event. You battle against other people, so you get again you have to just play with what you've got. And when you beat someone, you get to choose a card from the deck that they use and take it from them. It's yours now. And if too many of your cards get taken to play a deck, you're knocked out of the event. Right? At certain points, and again, a monetary incentive, you know, you can maybe pay to get more cards. It doesn't make you better. You're not going to get an advantage over anyone because you're still getting random cards, but at least you'll be in the event for longer if you have a skill issue, right? So that's another event that's already like, but again, events are way down the line. We need to get the game actually working first, as fun as these ideas are, right? So, how you doing, bro? It's been a minute. I hope you're doing great. But yeah, I just wanted to share some of my woes about where we're at right now. I need to upload this to GitHub because these are the files that the new consultant said are apparently missing that are preventing them from being able to run the code on their end and confirm that the back end is in fact working the way that it's supposed to be. My friend was, oh, by the way, if this is malware, maybe goodbye because my computer might crash. My friend was worried to open it because it's like, why are you sending so much stuff for something as small as what it's supposed to be? It doesn't feel like I've been attacked by malware. And all of this looks like authenticity. So I'm going to assume it's worked. I just need to learn from my friend how to replace the files on GitHub without breaking everything, which will be a delight. Anyway, I've been working on making a Magic-based competitive FPS game in Unity, and I should have a playable demo done tomorrow. Hey! That's amazing, man! Congratulations. Yo, that's extremely well done. So it's FPS means first person shooter. I was lost for a second on that, right? So Magic based competitive FPS game that gives me what's it called? Not Stormbreak. Was it Spellbreak vibes? Spellbreak vibes. Can you fly? I want to be able to fly in that. That sounds like a vibe. How fun is it to design mechanics from scratch? That's the best part. I was literally thinking about mechanics while I was in a meeting at work today. What I do is I get a sticky note so that people think I'm actually working. I get a stack of sticky notes. I leave the first one blank, and then I write like I'm taking notes, but in reality, I'm coming up with new mechanics or new decks for the game. Like today, I came up with a deck. I was looking at the fire exit signal. I draw something that I see in the room, and then I come up with an idea based on that. And I came up with a deck that they have the ability to return themselves and an opponent to the hand, which another deck used to have, but then the balancing there is every time you summon a card, you have to pay part of your life. So they can only return cards of the same rank to them, as the same rank as them. So if I summon a rank 1 card, you summon a rank 1 card. My rank 1 can bounce your rank 1, but only by bouncing itself as well. So we both just lose 50 life points for the price of freedom. So like, and I won't have board presence anymore. Also, as a result of that, I'm gonna work out the mechanics of that. But I feel like that's gonna be a fun one. Am I a bad person? There was a blind person, and that made me think of Toph from Avatar at work today, and so I did a drawing of someone with the seismic sense, and I was like, oh, a seismic sense. What if there was a deck or a card or a subset that revolved around being able to see face down runes, right? Runes are the magic cards, so, you know, that could be cool, like getting information. There was also thinking blind people. Oh, that was an awful sentence. Thinking about blind people also made me think about Daredevil, and that reminded me of like the so Marvel Snap has a mechanic where if you play Daredevil on turn 5, you can see your opponent's place. I didn't really like that because I feel like that's really strong, but also just thinking about the concept of being able to see things you shouldn't be able to see. Basically like a Daredevil kind of subset where the whole point is like, okay, if you play this card in 2 turns, you get to see your opponent's preparation phase plays before you make your own. But maybe there's another caveat to that or something like that, where it's like, okay, if your opponent manages to remove the card from the field before that happens, no peaks for you, no peaky peak, that kind of thing. So I've been having fun with making mechanics is probably the best part. It's actually making the mechanics into a game that's the stressful part, right? Now that your game sound hype, I mean, just hearing that one mechanism, thank you very much. I'm glad you like the sound of it, right? I even have a whole multiplayer system working, so with the demo, it's ready. Anyone can play? Really? What are the system specs to run it? Because you know my laptop is running on fumes and smoke, but if the system requirements are low, I'd be happy to hop in for a game or two. That sounds like a whole vibe, right? And Nick as well. Nick would also be happy to, right? So if you're looking for people to help you test it and like look for bugs, I've got time this weekend, so shout me. But yeah, so what I was doing at this very moment was just going through this background music that the composer's working on. And I love the idea. Who suggested it? Was it GearTune, or was it Nick, or was it Neo? Who was it that said that this sounds like the kind of theme that would play when you get really low on life points, like that dramatic gripping thing? I like that idea. I do. I just want to look for elements that I don't like in it. Honestly, I think the only thing that I don't like is some of the synths that she used. Like that. That's actually not that bad. What would that be? That sounded like when you're on a drum, that gold, it's not a triangle, but it's cone that you go, right? I forget. I'm bad at, I know sounds. I'm good at music by sounds, but I was never professionally trained, so I just like, oh, that's that thing, and I know what I mean, but you don't know what I mean. Anyway, I think that actually symbol. It's called a symbol. Yes, it was Neo. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so Neo's the one who thought about that. Okay, right. Do you think card games should have leaderboards? I always love the top 500. I mean, I'm planning on having a leaderboard because like once you get to master rank, it feels like there's nothing to grind for after that point. So you want to be the #1 master. Pokemon has that, where it's like, okay, you are Master Ball tier, but you are number 30,000 of all of the Master Ball tiers. I'm so bad at Pokemon. But yeah, so that's what I'm planning on doing, because it creates that incentive to keep on playing even after you've finished up the primary prime of the primaries. You get me? Right? Spellbound Empire, each player chooses Q. Okay, alright. Each player chooses their element before the match. Only one of each element allowed per team. Each player has unique abilities based on their element. Can I fly? Yes or no? But yeah. Like in King of Games, you read King of Games and that's it. Exactly, right? So let me take this back for a second. That part is good. Having good rewards for the top players to grind is important as well. Oh, absolutely. So what I'm planning on doing, and because I did an economy breakdown recently where I explained like the rates and everything, but just giving people cards might not be enough, especially early on, because when the game launches, it's only going to be 122 cards, right? If I'm not being predatory about how you go about getting them, it won't be difficult for early players to get the cards, so the rewards are going to come down to cosmetics. There are probably going to be top rank exclusive story modes, which will probably end up on YouTube, let's be honest, but like you're only going to have them on your account. Like you will gain access to a special hidden story mode for that season if you are a top ranked player, right? And there's also, because there's going to be guilds, it's like, okay, top ranked guilds get better items in their guild shop. There's obviously going to be the cosmetic side of it. There's going to be music packs that you can unlock, so you can change the music that's equipped to your thing. And that wasn't a sentence, but you know what I'm trying to say. Still undecided about certain other things, like when the VFX get added in, maybe we'll do summoning circles, maybe we won't. You can get custom summoning circles. Don't know yet, but we'll see. Wind Elemental can fly. That's me. That's who I am. Excellent. So let's have a listen through this. I like that. I like the that part is the okay. That part is cold. At first I thought she had missed a note, but in reality, because of the slower pace, that comes out nice. I like that. This part I don't like as much. I don't like this part. And I don't know what it is about it. I think it's a that part doesn't hit for me. That part doesn't hit for me. I think I'm being too harsh. The sparkling, I'm not sure about that. This part is great. It's supposed to make you feel nervous. It's supposed to give you, it's giving me like this prickly sensation. But I feel like it's supposed to. I feel like it's supposed to. I don't know. I just kind of want her to do something else. I just kind of want it to be. I don't know what I want it to be is the annoying thing, but I want it to be something else. Because the background melody is fine. This part is also good. In the background. And then you hear that. Like that, if the only way to describe it is that pixie dust sound. That sound where it's like pixie dust raining down. I can only describe that sound in that way. I don't know what else you would call that. I'm not in love with that. Those background little keys would be amazing in E flat. I don't know what E flat sounds like. I know what it sounds like, but I don't know. Words, right? Yeah, get rid of that. This part sounds great. This part sounds great. I like the little drums. That sparkling noise. Why does that keep happening? I think that might be one of the most like chimes. Is that what those are called? Chimes. Yes. Yes, that sound. That yes, that. That I don't like it. I don't think. And instead of the pixie dust, something like a timpani. What the hell is a timpani? I don't know what a timpani is. I don't know what a timpani is. What does a timpani sound like? Timpani sound. Perfect. What does a timpani sound like?
In the Ode to Joy,
don't talk to me.
In that time, easily stuck with the pitch part. You have it like this.
Oh, I would like dun 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 dun. I like timpani. We're gonna go with the timpani sounds. I hope they'll know what I mean. But we're gonna go with timpani sounds. I like that. I like that. Okay, so I need to send them like actual notes. Me just making up sounds isn't going to be helpful. So this is what the first part of this is going to be, because I feel like she's been waiting for like a day and a half for feedback, and she needs to eat, so she needs to be paid. So we're gonna go through the whole thing. Timpani. I like my way of saying it better. Please remove the sounds of the cymbals at, and I'll leave that blank. Maybe we can try replacing them with a timpani. 1. So the symbols come in at 0, 0. This part I definitely don't like. I think it's 056. Yeah. I-56, and it happened again. I know it did. That. 112. 112. 112. I think they're symbols, but I'm not entirely sure. The best way of describing them is that they sound sort of like how I imagine pixie dust would sound. I hope that that's clear enough. Maybe we can try replacing them with the timpani. There we go. All right. So, she's a very good composer. She's excellent. Honestly, love working with her. She's composed almost every background. No, in fact, she's composed all the backgrounds. The leads have been composed by other people, but the backgrounds, she composed all of them. Yeah. English teaching means get to learn things his way. That's why I'm in the profession. That's why. Right? This makes me want to play some music. Damn, I wish I had my sax right now. You play... Wait, no, I feel like you've told me this before. You play sax, right? I used to play sax, but I just... My dad was very into it, and so I like playing sax because it's something we can do together, but we've both sort of fallen off as of recent. Alright, what else don't I like? I'm sorry, this is going to be a lot of me going through this because that's what this process sort of is for me, is just going through again and again and again until I find something I don't like. I was going to do this by myself, but I was like, you guys can suffer too. Plus, it's more fun. It's more fun this way, right? This is all fine. So maybe we start each run through from like here. Like here. Is it the symbols? Is it really? No, it's not symbols. It's chimes. Sorry, my bad. You told me this. You told me this. It's chimes. It's chimes. Not the symbols. I like the symbols. I like the symbols. It's the chimes that I don't like. Right? I may want to hire her for my game music. Let me know if you do, and I can send you her Fiverr link. She's really good, and she's really affordable, at least as compared to a lot of the other composers you might find around. Her price has gone up since we first started working, but it's about £40 per composition, per track, per audio. I don't know what you would call it, but yeah, which is really good because some other people charge like, I mean, the people who do leads because they add vocals in, they charge like 200 minimum. People who do, so other people who do just the backgrounds might charge you like £100. I've seen. You probably find cheaper, but you also find more expensive, right? But yeah, she's great. She's great. I played blast clarinet, which is basically the child of the sax and the clarinet. That is not something I knew existed, but a vibe still. Yes, please send it. I bet. I will send... You know what? I'm about to send her a message. When I send her the message, I'll just take her link and put it in your thing. But yeah, okay. Now, there was another part that I didn't like. I think it's just those two things. So, it is... How would I describe this? From 044, from 0044, I forgot a 0 here. From 0044, a new sound is introduced that's hard to describe. It's sort of like scissors. The best sound I can think of is for the best word I can think of for it is that it sounds like scissors. Sounds like scissors. And while it adds tension, tension, which is good. I'm not a massive fan. The problem is I'm not sure what to replace it with. The sound ends at 57. 0057. Right? Scissors make a sound. Listen. I'm trying my best, okay? 7, and if you can think of something else that can be done for that section, it would be great. I would like to note that the background instruments playing the melody are good. It's just the scissor sound that I have an issue with. I think that's it, honestly. I think that's it. Cymbals are good. Very dramatic. I'm still a fan. Yeah, it's just that when it goes high, it's cool, but when it goes low, I'm not a fan. And there's that. There's a sound like that. What is that? What is that? That feels very random. There's a sound at 5, at 3. There's a sound around 0057 that's sort of like it's sort of hard to sort of like that gives, I don't know, that sort of gives the vibes ladder. It's up and it's got this rolling feel to it. Down and got this rolling feel to it. I'm personally not the biggest fan, and I think it's best if we remove it, please. Okay. And that is it. Sounds like a xylophone on a scraper or a scraper. Yeah. Yeah, actually, hold on. Because with a xylophone, I imagine it being more melodic, where this is just like, right? Like, sounds like a credit card. It sounds like a credit card being dragged along like a barbed fence. I'm not going to put it like that because that sounds mean, but yeah, right? I will admit that it's wildly fascinating hearing someone who doesn't know an instrument using to describe what it sounds like. Literally, I'm just out here trying my best. Okay, so I'll take this for her. Do I need to send, you know what, I'll just send her the document. Music feedback. I'm meant to hire her. Initially, I was going to do 24 tracks for the game, and then I thought to myself, look, this is an indie game. 24 is way more than you need. Because I looked over at what did Master Duel have initially? They had about 25 songs, I think, at launch. But I'm an indie game. I don't need 25 songs, so I was going to cut it down to 12. But then I was like, I don't even need 12. I feel like with what I've already got, I could probably get by with just getting a pack on Unity that has some background music for a reasonable price and just having it be that. But I do want a little bit of custom music, which is why I think I will maybe do like 6, and anything else I need just fill in the blanks. right? Gotta get back to work. Hey, yo, Salt, thanks for coming through. Have a good one, friend. Music feedback, share. Did I copy the link? I don't remember if I did. I'm gonna copy it again. And nope, these are the animators. This is yep, this is her. Cool. So I'll send you this link. Hi. Oop, I'm in caps lock. Hi, Arif. Sorry for the delay. I was trying to find the best way to phrase my feedback. I've got it written down here for you to take a look. Thank you very much. And all the best. Cool. Send. And then I'll just open a link to her profile. Cut that out. And I will, let me not open up Discord in front of everyone. Drop you the link. Sent. And we are good. Back down to Little Saul. All right, easy, right? This makes me want to go work on your Roblox game. Do it. Have a blast. Yo, Brandon. Hello, everyone. Can't stay long as just 9 on... Okay, break at work. That makes sense. How have you been, friend? I hope you're having a good time. Artist still hasn't gotten back with your deck yet. I've been very excited for the day that it's done and I show you and see your reaction. But it's good to see you, friend. How you been? How's work treating you? Okay, so she's got her feedback. That's one thing checked off of the to-do list. I can delete this. I cannot delete this. This is still needed. I cannot delete this. I can delete this. And now I need to open up my hard drive and just put the new runes in. Don't need to make the cards right this second because that's not necessary. Have you seen Frontlines on Roblox? No, I have not. I was about to say I don't really play Roblox. I don't play Roblox. My cousin does. And so for a little while I was at his house, I watched him play. But I've got no Roblox experience of my own, I don't think. Well, I've got a little bit of Roblox experience, but, you know, very minimal. So I would say I've played it, but, like, I haven't played it. Nexus TCG. Where would it be? It would be here. Card design. Nope, it won't be in card designs. What are you doing, Saul? It's in rune designs. That's where it would obviously be. And rather than doing all of the sorting in the immediate, I'm just going to go downloads, extract, show more options, extract files. Get that done real quick. Drop in the base image. Delete the zip. Drop this over here. And I will sort everything out for that later. Okay, cool. So, we get rid of this now. The next easiest thing to do is to update the cards. Extract all. Enter. Right? I've been good at work, just been busy lately with people being sick and have a lot of people out here. Working in care is so difficult. Like, the amount that you have to do to, like, care for someone who's unwell, I commend it. I wouldn't be able to do it, so I commend it. Right, man? That is well done to you for being so on it with the patients, because real talk, and I'm a bad person. I was about to say, if I had a job like yours, I feel like my biggest fear would be messing up and someone either being injured or losing their life because of it. I don't feel like I could handle the pressure. So the fact that you do, I commend it. Delete. We need to extract this. Right? Your composer has done a great job, but do you think this music actually aligns with your gameplay well? I mean, how do you see it? I think that specific piece of music I didn't think did, until, like, I was going to tell her that I like it, but please start from scratch, until Neo dropped the idea about, hey, what if this is just like the dramatic theme for when things go wrong, for like when things hit the fan? What if it was that? I really like that idea. I really, really like that idea. So had that idea not come up, genuinely probably would not have kept it. I would have said go back to the drawing board because I don't think it fits with the regular gameplay. But for that specific purpose, I think it works, right? Same, I have a fear every day of killing someone with food keeps me in check. That's healthy. The fact that it motivates you rather than being a source of fear. Why are there two of this? Why are there two of this? Daemon of the West. Because something is named incorrectly. What are you named? You are South. Okay. So that needs to be corrected. Because everything, there's a place for everything, and everything should be in its place, and that should not be there looking like that. Daemon subset has been extracted, can be deleted. Get rid of you. Reaper subset, extract all. Yes. Okay, that's done. Close this. Delete. Now, the next thing to do is to put them in. Let's go Canva real quick over here. The next thing to do, close this, open a new one, and drop them in my hard drive. That way I have the files here, but they're also on Canva in their most recent forms, right? Well, I'm cooking for the sick and elderly, so it could happen if the food not right. I see. That's what you meant about food. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, if you're cooking, well, I mean, on the bright side, your cooking skills are bound to improve with time. So that is, you can only go up, really. So hopefully that's some degree of comfort. I need TCG, I need card designs, I need card art, the Gladiator subset, if I'm not mistaken. No, I should just go in. The Gladiator subset, I was right to go in. The ID cards, update, replace, cool. I should have done this in order, god damn it. Okay, the Daemon subset. This is the not as fun part, where I have to go through and do all the housekeeping and make sure. 3? It should not be 3. It should be 4. Who didn't get replaced? I didn't spell this right. Okay, that's why you didn't get replaced. I have to delete this first. So, South. How nice. How lovely. How lovely. Daemon of the South. Right? Get rid of this. Delete. Right? I've been cooking professionally for 9 years. Oh! Okay, so you're fine. You're fine. I imagine cooking for that. They would hate me, but okay, fair enough. Except my cooking is heat, so they can just handle all the flavor that people bring. See, again, I need to start chefing. I need to learn to actually like properly cook. Like I can survive on my cooking, but it's not great. It's not great. You know the main thing with cooking is I just haven't tried. I feel like following a recipe shouldn't be that difficult, which is why I'm always, I guess there's a touch that you have as a chef, right? Where it's like you make something in a way that no one else can make. But in my mind, it's like, okay, if I do everything exactly the same as you, surely it should taste the same, right? So I feel like the biggest issue that I have is that I just haven't tried to cook. I've never been bothered to try to learn to cook, because I have, as long as something tastes okay and it's consistent and it's like, okay, I can eat this, I'm fine. I'm not very picky. If you want me to be happy about eating something, then I'm picky. But if you just want me to eat to survive, which when I live by myself, I do, I will eat anything, and that might be my biggest weakness. Let's get rid of this. You're not needed. Liberation, that is a Gladiator subset rune. So you go in here. Replace. Omnis and Osiris. Omnis will be Wyverns. Drop you here. Replace. because either these cards, no, not even either. A lot of these cards got their abilities updated, like the Wandering Phoenix no longer works the way it did. Omnis needed to have its language updated. Liberation had its language updated as well, because before, this says now, remove the inducted status from a card in the Gladiator subset, draw one card. The Gladiator subset was a deck that I created myself, and what we found was that it was lacking in, it needed a lot of monsters to make the strategy work, but because you only start with 5 and you only draw 1 per turn, usually the turn 1 strat just wasn't working well enough, so they needed more draw power. So I created this rune. What the inducted status is what the gladiators do is they can cast the inducted status onto a different card on the field and be like, hey, you're a member of the gladiator subset now. You induct another card into your subset, which is like your archetype, right? So your effects now work on that card. So what this rune is saying is, hey, remove that status from a card on the field and draw 1 card. Problem is, it didn't specify what subset you had to be removing the inducted status from, because this is supposed to be a gladiator rune. So, and inducted is just a status effect, which various decks will be able to do. So I just created a free draw 1 for everyone, basically, which was not intended. So that got corrected here. Okay, Omnis is updated. What else do we have? But yeah, that's it. The basics you need to know, but it's pretty simple. Exactly, right? I feel like, these 8 children. Yeah. Nick and his legendary 8 children. You love to see it. Forces me to cook every day. I'm at the point where I never look at a recipe. I do it all by taste. Okay, so you're good. Yeah, well, 9 years. You're gonna be good. I couldn't. I would die of food poisoning very quickly. That card art is cool. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like it. Now, think so. I did Omnis. I did Liberation. I need to do the Wandering Phoenix. The Phoenix got updated. I pray that Wanderings are finally balanced. It has been so hard to balance this deck. It's been nerf after nerf after nerf after nerf, and somehow they're still the best deck in the format. So now, with this final change, my prayer is that they are now in line with the power level of everything else. I was playing with Nat the other day, and she actually should have beaten me with a different deck, which means that even before this change, maybe they were getting close to being okay with this change. I really hope that they're okay now, because I'm tired. I'm tired of trying to balance this deck. But with that change, I think everyone is more or less balanced. Osiris is in the Asylum subset, so this should go here. Replace. Okay, there we go. That's the easy part done. Now, we close this. Well, I guess it's all easy. It's more tedium. We can... Actually, we'll leave this open. We can unplug the hard drive. How many decks are there? Right now... That's a good question. that's a damn good question, because like you have the mashup decks where it's like, okay, because you can freestyle if something has a low enough synergy rating. The system for deck building in this game is, instead of having like a ban list, there's a synergy system where for a card to be able to use its abilities, it needs to be in a deck that contains enough of the other cards from its subset, its family, in the deck. So for example, if a card has a synergy rating of 7, you have to have 6 other cards from its subset in that deck, because you need to have there need to be 7 cards for that card to be able to use its abilities. Well, if you want to combine that deck with another deck, if that deck has a synergy rating of, I don't know, 4, well, that you've only got space for 3 more monsters in your deck. So that means that other deck won't have its synergy requirements met, so we won't be able to use its abilities. You can put the cards in if you want, but they're basically just beat sticks at that point. But mashup decks are possible. Like, for example, Ancient Beasts have a synergy rating of 4, Gladiators have a synergy rating of 6. You can make an Ancient Beast Gladiator deck. But in terms of the individual subsets, not counting mixing and matching, you've got Wanderings, you've got the Forest Guard. Actually, I would say that everything deserves the balanced tag now, because everything feels balanced. So Wandering, Forest Guard, Ancient Beast, Reapers, 4. Do we count the minor subsets, actually? Because minor subsets aren't decks. You couldn't make a deck out of a minor subset. Minor subsets are there to complement the larger subsets, right? Is what they're there for. So in terms of major subsets, Wandering, Forest Guard, Ancient Beast, Reapers, Arias, and asylums and gladiators. So 7 majors. If you add the minors, no, did I say I've messed it up. I'm bad at this. Wandering, Forest Guard, Ancient Beast, Reaper, Asylum, Gladiator. 6 majors. Then you have Arias, Wyverns, Iron Kappas, Valiants, Harpies, Swamp Dwellers, Minotaurs. 13. Yeah. Did I say Daemons? If I didn't say Daemons, 14. 14 if I didn't say Daemons. 14 subsets as a whole, right? But then if you look at the decks that haven't been balanced and aren't in the current build, well, then you have all of these. And we don't talk about all of these. We don't talk about any of that anyway. No banlist. My hope is to not have to use banlist. If I'm forced to create, like Zane and Neil were talking about it the other day, like having a Hall of Fame-esque thing where a card gets taken off, then that might have to happen. But ideally, I would like a world in which I'm able to balance the game just by saying, oh, that combo is broken. Let me just increase the synergy rating of that card. So you can still play it, but you can only play it in the deck that it's intended and balanced around. That way it's not broken. But if the deck itself is broken, then a ban list might be necessary, or just an errata. But we'll see. Yeah, that's the hope anyway. All right, so now for the tedious part. We open up the TTS files. We browse local. If this, okay, no, it's open. We go modding, we go deck builder, TTS deck editor, and then one by one, individually, I know I said it wrong. It was on purpose. Put this down here, come over here, and just one by one, just drag these little guys in. Everyone has a place for everyone, and everyone in their place. Grab the Minotaurs, put you in, back to downloads, Gladiators, grab just the 2, oh wait, hold on. Okay, no, yeah, that's the right line. If I put them on the wrong lines, it makes it even more tedious to get it done. Gladiators, Reapers, grab you 4, boop. Daemons, grab you 4, boop. And that's everyone. Is that everyone? I did Minotaurs. Yes, I did Gladiators. Yep. Okay, excellent, awesome. That is 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, I did everything. All right, so file, saved. Nope, not saved deck as. Damn it. File, export, TTS. Nope, what did I do? Export, TTS, files, save. You can close this. Not going to need that. Open up the actual TTS, and we take it from there. It's just a really, it's an easy process once you learn how to do it. Like, I've done it so many times that, like, it's easy to update the game when I need to. But especially, and this isn't even a big update. I remember when I had to update every single card in the game. That was the last update that I did. And it just takes ages, man. It's not even that it's difficult, it's just tedious. Right? Plug this in so it doesn't die on me. Yep, that's good. Hurry up, please. I would appreciate it kindly if you would. Alright. Create multiplayer. I'll make it public. I don't think we're gonna do any testing tonight. Again, with the last round of changes, I feel like we did it. I really feel like we got the base game in order, to where things aren't busted anymore. Right? I think everything is balanced appropriately, which makes me so happy. And I can't think, like, even as things currently are with the current synergy ratings, I don't see, and I was going over the cards, I don't see any broken combos you can do. Where, like, you do it and it's just degenerate. I thought there was a broken combo. You've come so far with it. It really has come a long way. It really has, and I'm so grateful to everyone who's helped out with it because it's been a trip. Okay, custom deck. Drop this here. Face will be you. Cloud upload. Back will be, where's the back again? Here. Back is here. Plain back. Cloud upload. I'm just gonna go over, better than going under. Import, let that load in. I was saying something, but I forgot what it was. God, I don't remember anymore. Right, yeah. The one combo that I thought would be broken was the gladiators plus the minotaurs, where it's like for 2 turns you just cannot touch them, and if they want to really like push it, they can bump that number up to 3 turns, but with that they barely beat reapers. So I'm hoping that it wasn't just like a fluke and that is actually like relatively balanced. Like your opponent just has to wait you out, and if they wait you out successfully while also being able to mount a decent enough defense, you're cooked. You don't have too much of a leg to stand on with that combo, which is good. Other decks might struggle against it a bit, I will not tell a lie, but they might be able to outlast it, which is the important part. Why am I doing this one by one? Am I stupid? Well, I'm already this far, so I might as well keep going. Okay, yeah, we made it to the bottom. I didn't need to do it that way. I went through all 53 cards for no reason, because these were all always going to be blank. Okay. We will do this. Oh, make it smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, perfect. Now, we will do this subset by subset. First up is the Daemons. The Daemon subset is here. Alright, so who's getting changed? We'll do 1, 2. Let me move it so the camera doesn't block it. 2, 3, and 4. The people getting changed are this is gone. I think they're all getting an update actually. This is gone. Yep, they're all getting one. Okay, cool. Right, I buffed Daemons because no one uses Daemons, bro. I thought they would be broken because of how they work. They've got the lowest synergy rating in the game. They've got a synergy rating of 2. The problem with Daemons was that I thought it would be broken because initially it gave you a 400 point body every single turn, and I was like, whoa, that's busted. And no one ever, and so I nerfed them down so that they could only give you a 300 body and no one touches them. Because in your hand, you can only have, in your opening hand, you can only have 5 monsters, and the Daemons only work if you have 2 of them on the field. If you've only got 1 Daemon, it is a 0 attack body. It cannot do anything for you, which means that the only sensible way of playing the Daemon subset is to have the 2 of them take up 2 of the 5 slots in your opening hand, leaving you with only 3 for your strategy. And the Daemons are relatively easy to disrupt because again, if one of them gets destroyed, the strategy stops working. So I was like, you know what, there's no harm in giving them a buff, and so I did. So I've returned them back to where they were before, where they now give you 400 points per turn, but only if you're able to consistently keep the 2 of them on the field to maybe incentivize a little bit of play there. If it ends up being too broken, again, it's just a simple point change and it should be fine. But they're doing literally nothing right now because the cost of playing them, like having only 3 cards from your primary strategy at your disposal, it's just not good enough. What's your favorite effect in the game? That's tough. That's tough because I made quite a few of them. You know, you would think that it's Ryu's switch ability, right? You would think that it's switch because what Ryu says is, hey, if there's, so you know how cards move around where it's like, okay, you summon a card maybe in the counter zone, and then it moves up to do battle. Maybe your opponent approaches you with a different card. Cards are moving all over the board, right? What Ryu says is, if you control another card in my subset, if you've got another card in my family, switch our places on the board, which can make for some pretty cool outplays and stuff. But what we've actually found in testing is that it's not actually that, like, it's so situational where it's nice to have it, but it rarely comes up where you actually need it. You know, right now, the card with my favorite ability might just be Labyrinth Guard with Renrir. Right? He's a weak boy. He's only got 50 attack, but here's what he does. The Labyrinth Guard ability says, when you want to fight, this is, let me put it from the opponent's perspective. This is the assault zone, right? This little place here, this is the assault zone. You play a card here so that it moves up on this lane. Well, it would stop here, and then move up to your opponent's defense zone to attempt to attack them directly. Now, you, the opponent, can put a card here in your counter zone, which will move up here. Your opponent will have to battle and get past this card before they can get to your life points or to your defenses, right? What Renrir says is, hey, if you summon me in the counter zone and your opponent also summoned a card, so there are two movement phases. During movement phase 1, you would move from here to here. Then movement phase 2, you move from here to here, right? So it takes both movement phases to make it across the board. Well, Homeboy says movement phase 1 happens, he moves up and the opponent moves up, and he says, hey, send the first person I fight back to where they started. Which means that my opponent now, let me just grab a card as an example. My opponent now is here, has to go back. So by the time they now make it here and actually get to fight Renrir and take him out, well, movement phase 2 is ended. They can no longer make it all the way here, but what's crazy about that is that since cards can only attack once per turn, let's say my opponent has 2 cards. I send the first one back, so it ends up here. The second one takes me out. Cool. This card makes it to my defenses. That card is stuck here. This card has used its attack for the turn. So he single-handedly buys you... You just know that you are safe for a turn when you have Renrir on the field. You just know for a fact, my opponent cannot get to my life points with this. And it's just something so simple. Such a simple interaction. I'm just going to push you back a space. Such a simple interaction provides a blanket of protection for a turn where it's just like, hey, no matter what, because you can only summon 3 cards per turn, so your other 2 cards, you don't have to play anything defensively. You can leave your life points wide open. Could be risky if your opponent finds a way to outplay it, but you can focus fully on offense with just 1 card, guaranteeing your defense no matter what for a turn. Well, not no matter what. There are counters, obviously, right? What if your opponent has an effect that lets them summon a 3rd monster? Then you'd be screwed. Because that's just free direct damage that they're guaranteed to get. But generally speaking, it's pretty awesome. So I love that effect. The other effect that I love in the game, maybe it's her card art or maybe it's the effect. I don't know. Damien is really good as well. Damien is a Valiant card. I've just completely forgotten about what I was doing. Damien is a Valiant card, and what he says is negate the first attack that would kill me this turn, right? Now, he basically does the same thing that this guy does, right? This guy is in a better subset, so it's more favorable. But if you don't have space to run this guy's subset, what Damien says is, hey, if an attack would kill me, if I'm in your defense zone and an attack would kill me, negate the attack. Well, remember, every card can only attack once. So if my opponent has 2 monsters on the offense, I'm over here defending. My opponent attacks with the first monster. I negate the attack. My opponent attacks with the second monster. Yes, the second monster destroys Damien, but they've used up both of their attacks, so they can't kill you. It's the same thing, but in my opinion, not as good because it's way easier to counter that. Like, this card that I just did that with would be able to counter it because it has the Boss Rush ability, which is basically piercing damage. So because it's in the actual defense zone proper, it's weaker than Renrir, but it's still a really fun effect. So that's another good one. And the last one, I love Tuertion, obviously. Tuertion has the leap ability where it's like, hey, so again, more counters to the counters. Tuertion's ability says, hey, if you summon me in the assault zone and I run into a card in the counter zone, I can jump past them. He's a rabbit, he leaps. It's called leap. I can just leap past them. So this whole strategy doesn't work. The balance there is he is not allowed to attack directly that turn, but if like maybe you put a card in your defense zone for a strategy, he can disrupt that. So he can basically just invalidate that defensive play. But for balance, he won't be able to attack you directly that turn. And his second ability says that the first time he gets destroyed, he returns to your hand instead of going to the graveyard. After that, he'll go to the graveyard, though. And then the last card I really, really like is this one, Queen. Provocateur, the Gladiator Queen. She's got an ability called Queen's Gambit, which I just love the concept of. Yes, I made it. Yes, I'm tooting my own horn a little bit, but I really like this one. There's a risky move in chess called the Queen's Gambit. And so what this card does is, hey, if it is so if you summon this card on the first turn, destroy it. Just send it to the graveyard. But every single card on the field gets inducted into the Gladiator subset. You know how the deck is all about inducting cards into the subset? Okay, I'll target you, induct. Everyone gets inducted into the Gladiator subset. We're all gladiators now, right? She just blanket on the field, right? Which just enables the rest of the deck so well. Her second effect lets you revive a gladiator card from the graveyard if your opponent controls 3 gladiator monsters, which she likely helped you create. Obviously, if your opponent is able to remove them from the field or didn't have 3 monsters on the field when she used the ability, then it's stickier. But I love her effect. She's a core card for the gladiator strategy. You play her turn 1 every single time. So, love her. So, for example, what I thought would be the broken play is, turn 1, you summon Amazonia, and you summon Renrir, and then the last card you summon can be anything. She says, every card becomes a gladiator monster. He says, you're not getting past my defenses, and what she also does is, gladiator monsters that you control become fortified for the turn. Fortified is the status effect, where the first time you would be destroyed by battle, you're not destroyed. Well, Renrir is getting hit a total of once, right? So even in that maybe situation where I was like, oh, if your opponent managed to get a 3rd monster on the field, you'd be screwed. This combo survives that, right? This turn 1 combo survives even the potential counterplay. Your opponent would need 4 monsters to get over that turn 1 play. Now, if they had those 4 monsters, good luck. Even if they had the 3, he's not dealing much damage to them, so next turn you have to figure something out, and that's where the deck runs into difficulty sometimes. But it's just, I think, just such a solid turn 1 play, and was really fun to invent and figure out and play around with. So yeah, those are my favorite cards in the game. You would think it would be Ryu, but it's not. So yeah, back to the organization and the sorting. Yep, I took 4 off, so that's where it's supposed to be. Delete. Who needs to be spawned? The Reaper subset. Is that correct? Yeah. Reapers are really cool. I feel like Zane and Neo like Reapers more than I do. I've never been a massive fan of Reapers. They're cool in concept. I don't have a problem with them. But they were the first deck that had like destruction effects, and I personally thought that it was too big of a leap in power, so I nerfed them. So they weren't happy about that. I've made a mistake. I've made a mistake somewhere. Dear God, what did I do? No, I haven't made a mistake. Okay, good. I bamboozled myself. I mind gamed myself. Again, this is a very specific system. So if something is out of whack, you'll know immediately. But at the same time, if you've done too many things, well, I say know immediately, right? You don't always know the very second, and that can be tricky because with everything being so specific, it makes it so that everything works, but it can be difficult to notice, fuck's sake, like that. When things like that happen, when you push the wrong button. That's the downside of the system. I just deleted all the new cards. I have to import them again. Cool. All right, so anyway, we pack this up because I got all of this done in time before my Butterfingers got in the way. Let's stack these on top of each other. Gimme, gimme. Put this over here. Put this over here. Yum, yum, yum. And we will just spawn it fresh. We'll just spawn it fresh and start from the beginning, because that is game development sometimes. The Reaper subset. Save, overwrite, delete, and now we spawn it fresh, right? Reapers just need more waifus. They have one, but no one regards it as a true waifu, right? Sometimes simplest card effects are the best. True. Jump past. Yeah, he just whoop. He just pretends you're not there and just keeps moving. Basically, he's awesome. Is there lore? Is there lore? He says, yes, there's lore. We're in the process of writing the lore for the different decks. Some of them already had like some established lore based on the story itself. But certain cards, like for example, Nat helped me to write. We sat down together, we came up with the concept, what it would be like, and then she wrote. I'm getting short stories done for every single subset. So I hired a writer to do a few of them. Nat's working on some, I'm working on some. Even GearTube's working on one, just to put stories together. The story for the Minotaur subset, because that's the one that she worked on, it was really good. She did a really good job. We came up with the concept. No, in fact, she started the base concept. We bounced ideas off of each other. We brainstormed, and then she went with that. She brought a draft. I was like, I don't like this. Maybe change this element, because I'm effectively just the editor in that situation. And then she went back to the drawing board, and what she came back with was amazing. I feel like it would be wrong to go through the full lore here, but it'll all be in the game. It'll all be in the story mode, right? So let's spawn these cards, shall we? Components, cards, custom deck. Drop it here. Push the right click button. Grab the back because that's what we ended on, so it will be the first thing to come up. Plain back. Oh, right. Gotta upload it to the cloud. Crap. Cloud. Upload. Then we grab the front, go to downloads, grab this, cloud, upload. It's going to hate that I have two of the same thing in there. And we spawn, all right? I'm trying to be a lore writer. Inconvenience, it honestly is just inconvenience. But yeah, fused. Thank you, I appreciate that, bro. But yeah, so how it works, it would be the same thing as what I did with GearTube. You've already signed a volunteer agreement, so if you wanted to volunteer to do some writing, how it would work is like with GearTube. I would just choose a subset. I would give you the prompts for the story. So is it an origin story? Is it just an adventure? What should the characters and themes be? What needs to be tied in? The names of the monsters. Like for example, with Nat's story, she included elements that could be potential future cards, right? You don't have to do that, but again, it's just like a prompt to put you in the right direction. So that is, and obviously you still get, even though you've volunteered, when the stuff comes out, you will obviously still get the writer credit in the game, right? It's crazy realizing that because I actually started TGN Studios as a company, like people can use this for actual experience. There's a girl at the school that I work at, she was looking for an art internship, and I was like, oh, you want to come make some cards? And she has an internship for the summer, and I'm because I'm it's a government registered company, so like it's an actual internship that she can use to like progress her life. It's crazy. But yeah, anywho, let us do it the smart way this time around, which is, I messed it up already. You've got to be kidding. Okay. 1. I don't need to count them out loud. I really don't. Just grab all the individual cards. Rather than going through the top 33, go through the bottom 20. And that's it. I already did Reapers, didn't I? I'll just double check to make sure I got them all. There should be 4, and this should be the last one. Yep. This is Damon's. Cool. Delete. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. All right, we're back on track. It's like it never happened. It's like it never happened. I will pay you. I mean, hey, with how expensive things are, I will never turn down free money, but you don't have to do that. Right? We're looking for volunteers. Because I'm a writer. I could sit down for a little bit and write all of the stories for all of the subsets, and that would be great. But the thing is, as a writer, not only do you start to run out of ideas, but also you have things that you just naturally fall back on, tropes or an understanding of the world that you fall back on that might make your story somewhat similar or samey. Whereas by getting different people to do different things and just I still touch them up to make sure that they fit in well enough with what I envision for the cards and everything. But because it's coming from different places, it makes it so that everything has a splash of uniqueness to it. At least that's what I'm hoping for, in style and tone and everything. So what I'm doing is getting the lore created, And then in the actual game, there will be story mode packs, kind of like what you see in Master Duel, but a little bit different, where it's like, okay, this is a story for the deck, there's a duel attached to it, so on and so forth. But just a lot more lore. And then there's also going to be history of the world and character stuff, but that can't be done by anyone because character stuff has to be based on the story that I've written. So unless it's characters in a setting, I don't even know if that's possible. And then history of the world, again, because I'm the only one who knows the history of the world, I have to do that. But for lore, anyone can do that. Paying to write lore for someone else based? Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Do I have a cold? Why did I sniffle? So Umbridge was done, this was done, this was done, and okay, cool. So all the Reapers were done properly. Let's delete that and move on to Hadrian, champion of the gladiators. Why didn't you spawn? Okay, there we go. Are you the only gladiator? No, it's 1, 2. So you and the waifu. There's 3 waifus in this deck. There's Provocator, who I love. You are not a waifu, Caligula. Get out of my face. I hate you. No, I'm joking. He's fine. Aquila, she's a height. We like Aquila. She's cool, you know. And then you, Amazonia, the gladiator princess. We like Amazonia. She's a good one. She's a keeper. Delete your old ID card. Put you on top of this one. What have I done? Okay, these need to be somewhere else. This is going to cause a problem for me later. Now let's put it all back together. Drop this here. Hadrian, you take your new card, delete the old one, and then we stack them back up. Right? I know I'm already a volunteer. I just haven't been able to do playtesting since I went back to work in the office. But lore writing I can do even at work in the office, unlike playtesting for Photoshop. That's a vibe. That's vibes, actually. That does make a lot of sense because if you're in like an office setting, writing is something you can do from anywhere because writing is literally just thinking, right? I mean, you want to write it down, which is the writing part, but you can think of ideas and then write them down later. So yeah, I can prepare a prompt for you too. And that would be fine. If anything, YouTube, have you started working on your story? Because if anything, Saul, you made the Wyvern subset. I've made changes to the Wyvern subset since you made it, by the way. So we made the Wyvern subset, but it's fine. But you made the Wyvern subset initially. So I feel like it would be very easy to write lore for that because you probably had some in mind as you were writing. So Gear Team, if you haven't started that story, I can give you a different story to work on lore for, and we can hand that prompt to Soluxus, and take it from there. But let me know, because Gear Team, if you've already started, we wouldn't want to waste the efforts you've already put in. So it's only if you haven't started that we would do that. And then we'll just make a different prompt for Saul, and that would be fine. The Gladiator subset. Save, overwrite. Did that work? Yes, it did. Delete. All right, up next we have the Minotaurs. What needs to be replaced? We've got 10 cards here. Boom. First thing off the bat, you get replaced with this. Was that the right card? I'm going to pretend it was the right card. I changed their defense values because Niprix needed more defense than his buddy did. You got changed. Oh boy. Okay, then this has been updated. This should be down here. This has been updated. This has been updated. And this has been updated, and that's the Gladiator subset. I'm gonna play music, and that's that subset done. Right? TTS and Photoshop stuff I can't do for my office, but computer writing I can. Yep. Wyvern, Aria, and Shaman are my pride and joy subsets. Shamans, not Swamp Dwellers. I was confused. Shamans haven't been in the build for a while, so I almost forgot about them. Yeah, 100% that works. That's absolutely fine. So we can start you off on those, and well, let's wait to see what GearTube says, and then we'll go from there. Shamans are gonna do something way different from what they currently do. We had to take them out of the build because they were a bit too, well, one, they had a lot going on. They had token generation, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember all of the effects, but there was a lot going on with them. The, not Gladiators, the Minotaurus subset, when they eventually get brought back into the build for the year 1 cards, They will probably end up being reworked, but we'll see when that time comes. These are all different subsets, aren't they? They are. Okay, that's fine. Gladiator subset runes, get rid of this, replace it with this, put this on top so we can know if it's different or not, and save. The Gladiator subset runes, save, overwrite, it worked, we delete. All right, up next, we have the Asylum subset. Grab you, put you here, move you, it's not you, it's not you, it's not you, it's also not you. Why are you at the bottom? Because I put you at the bottom. Anyway, delete this, replace it with this, that is correct, and we replace everything. All right, this goes on top of this. Who's on top now? The dog is on top, so we don't put the dog on top this time. 2, 2, 2. We end with this. 10. Save object. The Asylum subset. Save. Overwrite. Did it work? It did. Delete. Next up, we have... Who the hell are you? Omnis, the Wyverns. Omnis would probably be at the bottom, I think. I was wrong. Okay, cool. That makes things easy. 1. God, why are you not at the top or the bottom? I hate you. You. I mean, I know I put you there, but don't hold me accountable for my decisions. Drop this here. We will make Terra the new cover. Actually, no, we'll make Ventus the cover. I like Ventus. The art for the Wyverns is sick, by the way. The Wyverns are just beautiful. Hi, the artist did a great job on these things. I love these guys. Ignis is my favorite by far, but, you know, the others are cool too. Save object. The Wyvern subset. Save, overwrite. Did that work? Yes, it did. We delete. And lastly, but not leastly, Wanderings. 20 cards. Probably, not probably, this is the biggest deck in the game because it's the main character's deck, so why wouldn't it be? Put you over there. Boss Guardian, put you over there. Wukong. Should not split you up, I'll get confused. Why are you at the bottom again? Okay, there you are. There's the ticket. Delete. Replace, 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 and we put it all back. The face is Tuertian. We'll make the face the Boss Guardian and stack them back up. And just like that, we're finally done with the tedious update process. Right? Now imagine that, but for every single card in the game at once. Fun times. Fun times. Alright, so save object. The Wandering wrong subset. Save. Overwrite. Did it work? Yes, it did. We X out. We delete. Center. Go into objects. Overwrite. And it's done. Overwrite again for good luck. Finished. Ugh. We've never played them. Yeah, I don't really remember, to be honest. Shamans are a subset I made early on. One of the first, but we're never planned for a year one release, so we're never put you. Yeah, exactly. If I remember correctly, Shaman was like a Roam Mage, if Mega Fan Beasts. Yeah, a Roam Mage. Yeah, because there was some life point regen, there was the tokens, there was a lot going on. What did you change about Asylums? We made it so that the boss monster of Asylums used to say, if a card, so the Nexus is like it's a safe zone in the middle of the field where you can put your support type monsters so they can do what they do without fear of being destroyed. Asylums are all about controlling the graveyard and controlling the Nexus, that safe zone. So what that card used to say is, if you summon, when you, on the turn you summon this card, it wasn't even on the turn you summon this card, any turn you want to, in the declaration phase, target a card in the Nexus and destroy it until the end of the turn. Well, that was weird because it's like, okay, why is it destroyed until the end of the turn? Wouldn't it be destroyed and then resummoned? And then also the fact that you could do that every single turn meant that you could fully lock someone out of a card effect if you wanted to, which was crazy. And because it happened in the declaration phase, most card effects can't be activated in the declaration phase unless they tell you that they can. So your opponent could not respond to it. So it's like, okay, that's a bit too strong. So now it can only do it on the very turn that it's summoned. So on the turn that it's summoned, you can counter your opponent's Nexus plays without them being able to respond, but instead of destroying the card and resummoning it, you just bounce the card back to their hand and give them back the cost that they paid to summon it. So it's just like, hey, this turn you don't get to use it, but from next turn you're good. That's the change that I made. Whew! Alright, so that's all of the Nexus changes done. We don't need the deck builder open, and I can delete this. I can delete, let's just delete everything at once. Delete all of this, delete this. I still need that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Delete. Okay. Now for the more difficult one. I need to figure out how to add this to the code on GitHub. I need to figure out how to add this to our repository. Because the guy working on the code, or the guy who wants to go in and inspect the code, can't do it without this missing piece, apparently. If that is in fact true. Right? Oh yeah, Wicked. How did you forget about Wickeds, my guy? You loved them. Bilal fixes. Okay, he pushed a few things through. Now, let's look at the guide. Let's problem solve here. Maybe I don't need help. We'll see. So he said that where I needed to put it was, I need to go into, what the okay. X86. Okay. Don't panic, Saul. You can do this. Let's see here. User settings. It doesn't look like it would be here. Okay. Let's go back, because my biggest fear is touching something and breaking it. Which I know they can fix, but at the same time, it just slows us down more. I do need to rework the lore for Wicked. The late master lore I made did not do the evil hot mommy witches any justice. I think the art for Wickeds is being worked on as we speak. I scrapped the models because every card is going to be 2D now, so there's no need for models. So I literally just had them based off of the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo, and I gave explicit notes to the artists that they need to be seductive. It needs to be safe for work, but they need to be baddies, effectively. So I'm curious to see if he gives me some solid waifus to work with. Because that's important for that deck. They're seductresses. So they need, and that's the only reason. That's the only reason. What other reason could there be for me to want waifus in my game? I got what I deserved there. Evil hot mommy witches. My interest is in peak. Exactly. Okay, man, how you doing? Right? I'm very excited for the art for that to come through. I think they appear in year 1, but I could be wrong about that. Ari is obviously appearing year 1. They're already in the build. But evil hot mommy witches, we'll see about that. God, I wish, because my friend was going to help me put it up. But honestly, I don't even recognize where it's supposed to go. And so I see the issues that they ran into there, right? Because Bilal has not made this easy. And it's really annoying. Again, the language barrier, things like this, like, if I'm honest, I like it when the work gets done. But he sure as hell makes it tedious. Where would this go? Right? The evil hot mommy witches deserve a whole ass webcomic about them. So some subsets, actually no, subsets generally speaking won't get lore. What will happen though, and this is where if you wanted to, it could be interesting, right? In the character section, characters from the story will have like adventures about them told as webcomics. The lore will be done in more of like that Master Duel style where it's like, okay, you have the narrator speaking and some images appear on the back, but individual monsters, not subsets as a whole, may have stories told about them where it's like, hey, they're the character of this story. And so that gives you infinite potential for stories at that point, right? Which is very exciting. Excuse me, all safe for work, though. All safe for work, right? Won't be in packages. God, honestly, it's like I'm a very do-it-yourself kind of person. Like, if something isn't working, if you've gotten someone, if you're in a situation where it's like, okay, look, I need you to do this, and Bilal, okay, hold on, wait, do I recognize that? I'm a very Thanos, I'll do it myself kind of person if it's not working, and usually that works for me. I'm usually able to brute force my way to a solution, but this is very technical. I don't know if I can brute force my way through this, right? I don't see a common thread that shows me which folder this is. If I could find the folder, I could follow this path, but this picture doesn't include the entire folder, right? I would probably pay you hundreds now for a safer edition of the game. Listen. It's coming. It's coming. Just you wait. Would it be in Firebase? Wait, no. It wouldn't be in Firebase. It would be in the external dependency manager. They said that they had an issue with external dependency. So my guess is it might come in here, no? Because he said that he had an issue. The guy said that he got an external dependency error. So wouldn't it be here? Wouldn't it be here then? If he had an external dependency error. It doesn't look like it. You read that wrong, but probably for the better. I did. Oh, none. I can't do that for you. You've come to the wrong place. You've come to the incorrect location, my friend. I wish I could help to quench your thirst, but I am but a simple man, a humble man. Oh, I'm gonna have to get Cash to do this. I'm pretty sure there's no malware in this. I'm pretty sure. His biggest thing was that, like, why is it so big if it doesn't need to be this big? But honestly, this all says Firebase. So would it be in the Firebase folder? Right? It all says, oh. Right? But I'm trying to come to the right location. If you don't, hey, you keep that away from me, sir. You keep that away from me. Why is this so complicated? And I feel like it's not even the fault of the person who's made it. I feel like code in general is just so complicated. iOS, Huh. I don't know. I honestly do not know what the right answer is. I was hoping that it would be a simple thing of I just come on here and it's there. I don't even know how my friend is supposed to find it. Right? It's like playing hide and seek. Oh, my days. You know what? You know what? I've had it. I'm just gonna. I can't with him. Good evening, Bilal. I hope you're well. Both myself and the consultant are facing issues when attempting to replace the missing file. And add this file here. It is not going through GitHub. Why? Also, why did he send the full source again? And why is it version 1.26? It should not be 1.26. It should be... That's not the correct version. Because right now, I can show you. We are on version 1.30. I don't know if you can see that, right? But we're on version 1.30 right now, which it's working, by the way. Version 1.30 is the deck builder works. I'm really happy with how it looks on the front end, but I can't see if it's working in the back end, right? I don't have the skills required. Only these guys do, and he's made it so that it's been done in a way where they can't see it. Honestly, tedious at best. Make my own Rule 34 version of the cards for research. Thanks for that. Right? So I'll sign in with my Google. I can actually take you on a tour. I was gonna do I'm probably still gonna do like a video tour of the current game as a sort of devlog. I'll sign in with my Google account. It logs you in. Okay, I was about to say it logs you in, right? You've got the different menus for gameplay, but what we want right now is the deck editor because that's what's been fixed up. You come in here, and it's working a lot better, right? So you come in here, you can see all of the cards that are currently in the game, which is just the first 30, the base cards for the game that we're going to start with. I'm planning on adding the other 92 potentially in the next order or the one after that, but we'll see. And so if you want to, I'll show you the actual process. You come over here, you open this, it brings up a filter tab, right? So you can now filter the specific things you want to see. Rank 3, there's only one rank 3 in the game right now. Rank 1 support types, and there you go, all the rank 1 support types in the game. I can just refresh. I can filter to just my favorite cards, and now it's only showing you the cards that I favorited. Refresh again. You can search Ryu. Oh, I spelt it wrong. Ryu, right? I search for Ryu. I close. Ryu's the card that comes up, and then I can put the cards in the deck builder. So like that aspect of the game, it's working. It's working the way it should. I just want to make sure that on the back end, everything is the way it needs to be so that when we move forward, we don't run into issues. That's my only thing, right? Can you filter by subset? Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Right now, it's just Wandering and Forest Guard, but you see the icons? You can't see it. Okay, yeah. See the icons at the top? So the first option is filter by subset. So I filter to just Forest Guard. I close this. Show it. Yeah. Now you just got the Forest Guard cards here and the runes, right? No wandering, right? If you want to filter by related cards, what you do is, if you want to filter related cards, you click on a card that you want to see. You come down here and hold the icon for its subset, and then it takes you to all of the cards from its subset, right? So that's how you do related cards. So that will auto filter, because what that did is that action turns on the filter for that card's subset. So that's how that works. And then you refresh again and it's good. So again, it looks to be working. I just want to make sure so that I don't, it's not a don't get scammed kind of thing. I just want to be careful, right? I've put a lot of time, I've put a lot of money into this. I want to be careful at every step, right? So that's it. The app looks so good. So hey, yo, thank you. It's come a very long way. It has. I wish I was able to work on it along with the devs. I feel like I would learn so much from it. It would be a vibe. And honestly, if you ever feel like you've got time, like genuine, just a block of time where you can dedicate to it, that would be great. I'm actually in the process of bringing on more devs. I'm trying to bring Peter back on as well to see if, because I know he speaks English and he handled some of the base code for the game as well, for the original version. So I feel like he might be a solid fit. But just looking, just the game is ever expanding, as it should. And next month we go into, I designed the entire economy, so we're either going to do the economy or we're going to start doing the turn structure next. Why? When I plugged that in, I lagged. I didn't like that. But yeah, that's the thing. All right, yeah, Gearchum, have you started on the lore for the Wyvern subset yet, my friend? If you have, let us know. If you haven't, I'm thinking we hand that off to Soluxus, because is the one who helped to he created the Wyvern subset. It's different now than it was, so I'll have to send him the updated cards, but it's largely the same in concept. He's the one who created it. And so if you haven't started on the lore, he can do that, and you can have a different one. Right, so I'll give you a different prompt to work with. But if you have already started, I don't want that effort to go to waste, so you stay on Wyverns, and then Saul will give Saul a different, because he also created a few others that he can work on. You've been watching anime, Saul? A little bit. What did I saw? I was tricked. I was bamboozled. Have you heard of the show Bastard? I thought it was going to be this awesome magical show about magical dudes being magical. It was not. It was about titties. I kept watching, so I don't know what that says about me, but I just kept, I think I thought to myself, the plot will thicken, The plot plots here and there, but it reminds me of Akame ga Kill more than anything else. Because it's about a man forming a harem. A harem? A harem. Except they actually get naked. So, it's not what I thought it would be. That is the most recent anime experience that I've had. Can't say it's been great. Also, there's some really weird grooming stuff in there, which makes me deeply uncomfortable. I don't think I've ever smiled while watching that. Oh, no, that's a lie. There have been funny moments, so I have smiled. But it is just deeply concerning how many elements of grooming there are. And I don't mean like, oh, you're overreacting. No, I mean raising a child from the young age of like 3 and then, you know, doing the do. That's weird. It doesn't matter if you're an immortal elf. That's weird, right? So, yeah. That's how my week has been going. That's how my week has been going. Yeah, the animation's really good. I'll never fault the animation. But it's just wild to me how upfront they are with their like comment. Like, okay, this won't be a spoiler, but because they show you in the first episode, there's a little boy who looks like he's, I don't know, like 8 maybe, right? And he transforms into this ancient wizard. So they share a body, but imagine the 8 to ancient wizard ratio, and then all of the love interest, especially the main female love interest, seemingly fantasizing over the little boy version more than the adult version. And the spell to bring out the ancient wizard is that she has to kiss the little boy. It's just so upfront with it. It's weird. I still watched 15 episodes though, so you know, that says something about me maybe, but I don't want to talk about that right now. All right. I've started with my bullet points, but I haven't done anything yet, so I'm happy passing it off if need be. Okay, in that case, I think that might be for the best, and thank you very much. So Saul, I can hand you the prompt for Wyverns and Gear Tomb. I'll make a different prompt for you probably this evening and send that on Discord. I saw that trailer and was like, this is just horny. I didn't watch the trailer. I just saw most popular anime on Netflix right now. So that says something about everyone, not just me. Most popular anime on Netflix right now, Bastard. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And I watched it, and here we are. So yeah. Yeah. I don't care if you're an immortal elf. That's weird. It's true. How did you feel about Erased? I didn't watch it. I have not watched Erased. I have not. I mean, I don't actually care about any weird stuff, but I got a public image. Yeah. I like that. Mexican Grills, it's a weird time to join because we're talking about the weird world of weird anime, I suppose. Erased is so good. Is it weird? Is there weird stuff in that one too? Because I will not like it if there is. Thanks, Saul. Right, this. I'm just gonna tell. I don't fully understand how or where to open the file, and as discussed previously, it will cost extra to have the consultant upload it for us. Is it really impossible for it to be uploaded and replaced on your end? And if I absolutely have to, then I will take on the extra cost, but I would like to avoid that if possible, as expenses are already quite high. Because honestly, as a developer, how can you not just update the files yourself? Like, I get that I don't know. It's just annoying. Just send me a finished thing. Like, I'm fine with taking a thing like this. Maybe I can send this. Maybe this will be okay. I can try maybe sharing this link with the consultant. And see if maybe he'll take this. Right? Because my friend is worried about the malware. This is one of the guys I've hired to write. His gig is that he ghostwrites stories. I'm gonna give him credit because I don't like the idea of ghostwriting. I don't want to take credit for it if I didn't write it. It's this guy, right? So that's a whole thing. That's a whole thing and a half, right? Not weird? Okay, good. Have you seen Castlevania? I haven't. No Erase is an emotional, heartwarming story about a guy who gets the ability to travel back in time and he uses it to solve and solve a kidnapping case. It sounds generic, but I promise it's so good. It gives me time traveler's wife vibes, but that's fair enough. He uses it to try to solve a kidnapping case. Oh, I see. Alright, fair enough. That could be fun. That could be very fun. But yeah. It's just ridiculous. Apologies, but both myself and the developer are having issues with GitHub. He sent the code base as its own file which can be downloaded, but I understand if that's a bit too much data and will keep trying to resolve the issue. Here is the link to I don't even think it's the latest build. This says we're on 1.30, but hey, here's the link to the latest build that the developer sent me. And you know what? Hopefully that's good enough, because honestly, I have had a long day and I have tried. No one can tell me that I have not tried. Okay, anyway, I'm deleting this because I have officially made it someone else's problem. Delete. And that is everything on my to-do list for the evening. That wasn't bad. That was not so bad, to be honest, right? Link click. I have not been watching enough anime as of recent, if I'm being completely honest. Is it on Netflix? I feel like I've only really been watching anime on Netflix because I can't be bothered to have both Netflix and Crunchyroll, right? I feel like that's definitely pretty cool. Thank you very much. We've been at it for about 2 hours. I might be ready to round up here because we're not doing, I was thinking, okay, we might be testing, but I don't really feel like I don't feel a pressing need to test at the moment, because going through everything, one of the most broken things I thought I had introduced into the game was Maxim Opus. Ignore the card art for these cards. These are just templates while the artist works on them. Initially, they weren't going to be in the base game, the first set of cards. So I didn't have the art for them commissioned in time. So they're the only cards that don't have art right now. So just ignore the template photos that I've used. So I introduced these cards. Golgotha ended up being fine. Attack and defense manipulation is something that has been not sacred, because a lot of cards can do it, but most cards have been all the cards that can do it have been subset specific so far. It's like, okay, this deck can increase its attack power. This deck can reduce your attack power, but only when they're together in their contained balanced bubble. Generic cards can be thrown into any deck, and she can increase your stats by 100 each, right? Which, since stats are in multiples of 100, is it's a leap, right? It changes things, but so far it seemed perfectly balanced because she tributes herself as cost to do it, so you lose some board presence, and I'm proud of myself, and that means you can only do it once, so I'm proud of myself for that one. The Badger, Honey Badger and Wolverine, both kind of suck, but I feel like they'll find their place once decks that like being at low life come in. The other thing that I made that I thought was broken, these two are just fine. I feel like Baby Orc might find his place someday, but right now, it's fine. Maxim Opus I thought might have been broken, because what she does is, she says, hey, remove a rank 2 or lower card from the game that you control, and gain the life points that you paid for its summon. Which means that in theory, you can summon a card, use it, battle with it, and then as it's about to be destroyed, remove it from the game, gain your life points back, and it's like, dang. But there was a change recently, which says when a card is removed from the game, it is gone, right? Like, you know how when you banish a card in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like you have a banish pile you can bring back? No, it's gone. It's not in the game anymore. You can't touch it. I want the banished pile to be, I maybe one day this will change, but as of right now, I want the banished pile to be a sacred space. Where unless, like, if the effect says, and I'm trying to avoid effects like this, because if the effect says remove it from the game and bring it back, that's one thing. But if an effect just says, oh, shoot, turn my heater on, and my heater catches on fire when you turn it on to full blast, and I accidentally turn it on to full blast. That's the smell of smoke. Okay, cool, awesome, great, that's fun, that's fine. Anyway, but now when you remove a card from the game, it's gone, right? There's no getting it back. And also, you know that synergy rating system I talked about where you have to have a certain amount of synergy in your deck, like you have to have enough cards from the same group? Well, if you remove a card from the game, it's no longer counted as being part of your group anymore, which means that you lose the synergy benefits that you got from having that card in your deck, which means that you could turn off the abilities for your entire deck by using this. So that means you have to build your deck tighter. It's just better, right? It's just better. Thank you, Miss Al, but I'm free hella free every Sunday, and any Saturdays that work on everyone else, I can free up ahead of time. I think rather than having it be on some days on like a weekend, I would rather, like, if you're on a holiday or something and you would like to do some coding, that way it's sort of a back-to-back thing. Because if you're doing just weekends, every time you come into the the development setting, because of how much is being done, you effectively spend half the time just catching up to where we are now from the thing. If you come on like the one day a week, you get what I mean? Like, because for example, the other developers that we're bringing on, they're going to be working on more niche things, but that's just it. They will be completely in charge of those niche things, and so it'll be that they create something and just add it in on top of what exists. But in terms of coming in to help, if you come in to help on one day, you spend like half the day getting caught up. Well, by the time you come in the next week, it's gonna be the same thing, right? You better never add a card that removes an opponent's avatar from the game. I was going to until I realized, wait. So yeah, the removing from the game is going, oh, hello, friend. Removing from the game is going to be a relatively sacred effect. And I've told the people who are working on decks, because now we're getting volunteers doing different things, right? There's people working on lore, there's people working on new card effects. I'm after some more subsets are done, I'm also going to want like individual cards to be made for the generic card pool. Right? But yeah, that's the general vibe of it. This guy's gonna be so confused. What I realized about making it this public is that it's fine to make Summoners Nexus lobbies like this public, because no one's gonna have any idea what's going on. Right? They're gonna come around, pick stuff up, maybe eat something off the table, and if I want to kick them, I can kick them. Right? This game looks interesting. Can you teach me to play? Oh, that's very sweet. Thank you very much. I'm glad you like the look of it. I'm actually streaming it from YouTube right now. I'm actually streaming it from YouTube right now from an account called TGN Studios. It's called Summoners Nexus. If you're interested in taking a look, and I've got tons of guides that can help out. It'd be sort of tough to explain it all via text chat. There we go, right? I'm free from work. You love to see it. I get Saturday evenings to be free, vibing. You can work on lore and all that kind of stuff. Not gonna lie, I need the tutorial also. It's all on YouTube, the entire, so I've got like all of the videos and everything. Yo! Thank you for coming to the stream, friend. I appreciate that. Right? My memory sucks. So yeah, I've got all of it done. Well, if you check out the vids, yeah, the videos have like everything. The videos have everything from like top to bottom, because, well, to be honest, there have been updates to the game since we initially made the videos, right? There have been updates to the game since we initially made the videos. But by and large, the information will still give you a solid idea of how the game works. Like last week was the video guide on just straight up like, hey, this is how you play the game type beat, right? So if you go to Summoners Nexus guides, just down here, This is all the information you could possibly need on how you play this game, right? It's more why is an Afro Senju video in this playlist? Excuse me. Why is it in both of these playlists? Okay, anyway, that aside from that, this deck has basically everything that you need. This playlist, right? I think there's 1 or 2 more videos coming out. This has more detail than you need. This is if you want to be like in there. If you just want the basics, maybe check out the very first video, first look, and then the video that is just straight up like how to play. And that's all you need, right? Because the vids are heat. True. I'll have a look. Hey, thank you very much, Fire. How would I play it? How would you play the game? I mean, for a quick rundown, right? For a very quick rundown on the rules. So both players, so something that's changed: before you started with 1,000 life points, it's called your Nexus gauge. Now you start with 1,200 life points. I'll just, you know what, let me just do a quick like mock one, because we're not actually playtesting today. Since we're not playtesting, I can just be like, hey, this is how it works. So if I pulled up the Minos Gladiators, this was the last deck that I played. I've got the ID cards over here, and I've got the resource deck over here. So let me draw the cards, and I'll just do a quick explanation. And I'll lift the last one. Okay, so how it works is, in this game, you start with 10 cards in hand, right? Your opening hand, and you decide exactly what those 10 cards are. You decide the 5 monsters that you want in your hand. So I've decided on these 5 for my opening strategy, and then the 5 magic cards or runes that you want in your hand. So these 5. You then have 5 cards in your resource deck that can be monsters or runes that you shuffle, and over the course of the game, you draw the extra resources. Now, like I said, I've got 1,200 life points. If I want to summon cards onto the field, I have to pay the life point cost associated with their rank. This is a rank 2 card. You can usually tell based on the number of abilities it has. It's got 2. It's a rank 2 card. It would cost me 100 life points to put this on the field and fight with it, right? This is a rank 3 card. It would cost me 200 life points, and rank 1 cards would cost you 50 life points to play. So the objective of the game is to manage your resources and reduce your opponent's life points to 0, but also by summoning monsters, you are making it easier for them to reduce your life points to 0. So you have to be careful with how you do it. So you've got an assault zone, you've got I'll put cards in them to make it easier to understand. You've got an assault, this is the assault zone, this is the defense zone, this is the counter zone. This is where you put your runes, so we call that the rune zone. And then obviously this is where your resource deck goes that you draw from. Now, this is a bit zoomed out. If I zoom in a bit more, it might be more helpful. So if I put a card in the assault zone, when the turn starts, my card will move up to here, battle any cards that might be here, and then move over here. And as you see, this is just the board flipped, right? It's just flipped. So this is my opponent's defense zone, and then I attack them directly to try and reduce their life points. They can do the same thing to me. If I put a card in the defense zone, it will battle an incoming card to protect my life points. And if I put a card in the counter zone, you see how when I was in the assault zone, I moved up? Well, if my opponent had a card in the counter zone, it would move up, and I would have to fight it before I got to the defense zone. So that's how that works. When cards battle, the stronger card wins, and it has its stats reduced by the stats of the card it battled. You got effects that you can use, and I think that's about it. I think those are the basics that you would need to understand. You can summon 3 monsters per turn by paying your life points. You can set 3 runes on the field, and that's about it. That's about it in terms of like the base level stuff. Obviously cards can use like card effects. You can activate 6 effects per turn, and that's pretty much the only limitation on card effects other than what the effects themselves do. I think Nick means how to put hands on the game to literally play with. Oh, that makes sense. I mean, it's on TTS. It's only on TTS when I'm on TTS, but literally it's a public lobby, so if you looked up Summoner's Nexus while I'm in here, you could hop in, and if you knew the rules, I could just spawn the cards and you could play like on a stream or anything like that. Up until now, I've been doing a volunteer agreement system where you sign a volunteer agreement because technically speaking, you are helping me create the game by helping me playtest. But once the game gets to a certain point of like completion, it stops being just playtesting and becomes like, okay, let's just do this for fun kind of thing. At which point you wouldn't need to sign a volunteer agreement, but currently you would have to sign a volunteer agreement because it would be playtesting to achieve a certain level of balance. And that's about it. That's about it. So like, for example, if I were to do a turn 1, but oh right, another very important thing. We don't take turns in this game. Everyone plays at the exact same time. So let me give you an example. It's turn 1. I decide that for turn 1, I want to play this rune. I want to play, well, the actual strategy for this deck is you play this monster, you play this monster, you play this monster, and you play... You don't really need a rune turn 1 for this deck, but if you're worried, you play this rune turn 1. In the app, you won't actually have to put the cards in this zone because the app will do it for you automatically once you select the cards and where they're going. But then you and your opponent both reveal where the cards are going to go. So we would reveal our cards. You wouldn't reveal the runes because they're hidden until you use them. So you would put the runes in the rune zone. This would go in the counter zone. This would go in my defense zone. This would go in my assault zone. My opponent would also summon their cards in the correct location. Movement phase 1 would happen. Cards would move to their halfway points, these checkpoints. Any battles that need to happen would happen. If it's possible for me to move past, let's say I've battled here in 1, movement phase 2 will happen. This card will move up. Cards in the counter zone don't go farther than the checkpoint. If I'm able to attack, I would attack you directly, or if you've got a monster, I would battle the monster, and then the next turn would go by. But at the very same time, your cards would have been doing the same thing. You would have come up here, you would have battled, and you would have been sent back because of this card's specific abilities, but assuming it was just a beat stick, you would then proceed over here. You wouldn't battle at that point, but you get the idea. So that's how the game works, right? So yeah, that is Summoner's Nexus in a nutshell. Right, that is the very basics of it, and I hope that was helpful. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, so that's it really. We've done a lot of balancing to get the base 122 cards at an acceptable level of power. I think I'm happy with the power and wording of everything. If anything comes up, it should be minor. I'll be completely honest with you. Right? Because I cannot think of any basics. Right? Like if you want to get into like the nitty and gritty, then it's like, okay, the different stages of the battle phase that you can get into. But again, that's not necessary because I think the game should be approachable at... So I would say I've explained things at an intermediate level, but there's also the base level that you can take, right? I want the game to be approachable at a base level, so I'm trying to use language that's more like casual friendly. Boss Rush, for example, just says, hey, when this card attacks a card in the defense zone, inflict that card. Nope, that's wrong. Why does that say that? Why does that say that? That's incorrect. Because these are outdated versions. That's why. Okay, yes, that's why that says that. So what it should say is, when this card attacks a card in the defense zone, it gains a guard break status. Easy. And then in the game, there's going to be a little icon for the guard break status. You click it, it tells you what guard break does. Simple, right? The game itself is easy to understand. The real learning curve is the avatar abilities and how they play the game with mechanics. Exactly. That's where the real, like, the grits and the rubber meet the road and whatnot. But that's how it works. Basically, put Bungus down zone, move Bungus. In the most, yes, actually, that is a great way of, I think we should use that from now on. Easy to understand. But yeah, that's the game in a nutshell. Coming to an app store near you. 2024, please. Maybe 2025, but we'll see. So yeah, this is what I've been working on. This is my pride and joy. It's bigger than the book, right? Avatars are being changed to bunguses. At this point, might as well, right? This project is definitely taking like more... The story is obviously where the game comes from, but at this point I feel like the game is bigger than the story in scope because like of how much time, effort, and work has gone into it. But yeah, what I was saying, I don't think any broken combos exist. Maximum Opus is balanced because to remove the card and give you the life points, she reduces your deck synergy, which what the hell kind of cost is that? So your deck would have to be built around that ability, basically. The generic runes are all fine. A lot of them suck. Well, suck is the wrong word. A lot of them are situational for the moment, whereas when more things come into the game, a lot of the generic runes will get more popular, right? Just make sure to make no bad mobile lads. I will try to avoid that, but again, if the game is successful, that won't be necessary, like really successful on launch, but you got to be realistic with your expectations. So I'll try and make sure ads aren't excessive, but there may need to be ads here and there at certain places. Maybe, hey, you watch an ad, you get a fast pass or something like that. Not like in your face, just to try and make some money. But yeah, I will say the Forest Guard subset needs to be tested, right? Some of the biggest and best card game franchises in the world did not originate as card games. True, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Wasn't supposed to be Yu-Gi-Oh! At the start, and look at them now, right? I think Forest Guards aren't, it's not even that they would be broken, it's just that they got updated because they were a bit weaker in the format. So they need to be tested to see what level of power they're at. But for real, like, everything feels good and it makes me so happy. Like, all of it just seems solid. Everything just seems solid. Reaper subset runes. Yeah, I don't look at anything and be like, oh yeah, I don't know about how that plays, or I don't know if that's broken or not. No one plays the Swamp Dwellers, but that's because in concept they're not insane. Wyverns haven't been touched in a while, but like, again, not really worried about them. Yeah, a very fine balancing act has been done. It's taken a lot of work, but yeah, Magic is based on D&D. Pokemon equals Pokemon. Oh damn, okay, fairs. Free the homie Dominion. No, Dominion is a year 1 card, but he will be nerfed appropriately to be able to bring him on. When the game, in the very first build of the game, I put an Omni Negate in. There was a card named, I think, oh, what's his name again? He's one of the Ancient Beast cards, and he just had an Omni Negate. He just did. He just did. And I realized that that's not what I wanted this game to be. Definitely not at the outset as well. There is a sealed mechanic where you can seal your opponent's abilities for a turn if you have an effect for it, but right now only 1 card in the game out of the 122 has that ability, and I'm going to apply it sparingly, at least at the beginning, so we'll see. Bro, planning to nerf before release. Literally, I've been trying to fine-tune it. I think I fine-tuned the base cards at least. Rugal, his name was Rugal, Conqueror of the Ancient Beast. That's him. I miss that guy sometimes. So, what I think this means, and I don't think it's necessary right now. I think what's necessary right now is just that little bit more playtesting. So maybe 1 or 2 more playtesting sessions. Maybe we playtest for the rest of this month. And then from there, honestly, I think it's time to start adding in new cards. I think it's time to start adding in some of the cards from the first set, the Shadow Walker subset. I rearranged the order that the cards are going to be added in because the first month, not the first month, the first 3 months will just be the base cards that are added in. Then from the 4th month, start adding in new content. Give people time to explore the content that's already there. If that needs to be adjusted, it will be. But then after that period of them getting used to all the content and getting used to how the game plays, then start adding new content into the mix. So we start with these 122 cards. Then we move into the combination Genesis period, which is, and we're coming right out the gate with this, combination summons are going to be, it's like fusion summons. There are a few differences, but you can fuse cards together using the magic cards and runes. Now, not every single deck, like for example, Shadow Walkers don't have any combination features yet. They don't launch with combination features, they get them later. Actually, no, I think they might actually launch, no, they don't launch with them. I need to double check. Anyway, Stygian Grace, no combination features. Double A subset, no combination features, just things at an adequate level of power to sort of ease people into the game. Mystic Force, that's Gear subset, no combination features, it's just a regular deck. Then we have Combination Genesis, which is just going to be, boom, just a bunch of combination, just random cards that combine into other random cards. It's going to be great. So there's going to be that, right? There have been so many nerfs. There have been mountains. mountains of nerfs before release. The beautiful card art making this an app, the beautiful part about making this an app is you can errata cards easily at any time. Not exactly. So yes, but no. Because what we've realized is that as an indie development studio, it will be so difficult to make the effects in the first place, and getting each effect to interact with each effect properly, that fine balance disrupting it just for a net sum of having the exact same card but different, hard, very difficult. So what we're trying to do is get the effects correct, and then the things that are easy to change, attack and defense and synergy rating, that will be what we use for erratas and balancing, rather than changing the actual effects, to limit how much of the effort, because it's a small team, to limit how much of the effort has to go into balancing and be taken away from the new cards being added in. Try and get the effects right at the outset. Obviously we won't always get it right, but in situations where we don't, then we approach that and either try and tackle the effect or Hall of Fame the card, right? I really want to avoid Hall of Faming cards, especially when players are going to try and use their resources to get them, but you get what I mean, right? You know what I mean. It's a subset that doesn't use a special summoning mechanic. It is just wait, it doesn't, does it? No, it doesn't. It's a deck that uses the base summoning mechanics, so it's a good way to ease people in. Brandon's deck was supposed to be one of the first ones to come out. In fact, it was it the first or the second deck to come out? But when rearranging the order, I realized that it uses the Ascension mechanic, another summoning mechanic that isn't supposed to come out until year 2, which made it so that Brandon's deck is the very first deck of year 2 with Ascension. But because it uses Ascension as its, I was like, okay, maybe we rework it, but the deck does not work without the Ascension mechanic, which won't be a thing when the game comes out, right? Because I don't want to overload people with features, so we just add them in little by little, right? Yo, Warshi, hello, friend, welcome, how are you? But yeah, so that's it, right? From a game dev standpoint, the difference in vast amount of abilities, effects, and interactions is tough. Yeah, exactly. That's going to be one of the hardest parts of making this game, is the abilities. Putting the pretty colors together, making it so the cards battle, fight, haha, that's all fine. The abilities, it's what's going to be a nightmare. I laugh when I'm scared. I'm sure you're gonna come to a point where a certain ability just doesn't work from a coding perspective and will need to be changed just to make it functioning. Yeah, probably. I've got some unique ability ideas that are just gonna be, the devs are gonna hate me. Anyway, so maybe we start adding some of these cards in, just bit by bit, right? Maybe once we're done with the base set, we can try out Shadow Walkers. Maybe we add them in one by one. The art for everything that you see here, the art is either being worked on or has been sectioned to have the art worked on. That's why. So I was talking about how next month I might just take 1,600 pounds. Yeah, 1,600 pounds and get the art for all of this done with that 1,600 pounds if possible. That way, everything that you see here in orange will be done, right? All of that will be done up to here with that 1,600 pounds, and that's 2 years of releases, if not more. So yeah. Oh wait, I get to touch my own lore and Saul. Yeah, exactly. The ancient gears will be based on your lore. So you're just like how Saul is writing wyverns. When it's time to do lore for gears, it will be based on your lore. So that is another feature, right? We'll have to make the lore fit into the Nexus like timeline, but yeah. Yeah, that's everything for right now. I mean, my Ignite should reduce the defense as well. That's something I can just change in the rules relatively easily. Ignite is a status effect where you basically catch fire and lose 50 attack every single turn, but it never affected defense before. And I'm just like, well, if you're on fire at the top, why wouldn't you also be on fire at the bottom? So attack and defense, right? So I'm gonna make that change. My throat's getting a little bit sore. I think I'm gonna wrap up here. The updates that I wanted to make have been made. I've messaged the people who need to be messaged. I've given feedback on the music, which was one of the more important things. And I think that's everything for right now. We don't really need to do any testing tonight. We'll probably test again next Tuesday. Probably next Friday, because on Tuesday we did an 8-hour testing session. just going back and forth, and it was great. We got so much done. I think for defense, yo Zane, how you doing, bro? I think for defense we should have a different effect, because igniting cards like Ryu will be twice as strong with that change. I feel like that's for the benefit, but remember, Ryu can cleanse himself, right? Ryu can cleanse himself. So Ryu, and I feel like Ryu is the only card who will face a disadvantage from that change. Because if I summon a card in the assault zone, it's in the assault zone. It's not going to be using its defense while it's on the field. If I ignite a card in the defense zone, it's in the defense zone. It's not going to be using its attack while it's on the field. The only person who would be disadvantaged is someone who's moving back and forth between those places like Ryu can. Difference is, when Ryu moves to the defense zone, he gains the ability to cleanse his status effects, so he won't even be that down bad, right? So I don't know, right? Before you get off, don't forget to send me the Wyvern prompt. It's in the game dev chat in the Discord. I'll link you to it. I'll link you to it, right? Unless someone moves it. Oh yeah, that would suck. I mean, again, if a card is built for defense and it gets moved to offense, it's probably going to die anyway. But that is interesting. I don't know. Ignite just seems kind of flimsy because you can only use Ignite, I want to say, defensively. Because since you can only reduce attack, that means you're reducing the attack of the cards in the counter zone, or the cards in the defense zone, or the cards in the assault zone. But you can't use Ignite offensively right now, which is weird to me because it's fire, right? You would think that would be an offensive tool, but because it doesn't affect defense, it's like, yeah, like corrosion might be, because again, if we have one for attack and one for defense, I feel like that makes it sort of bloated, right? Because you could have Ignite for attack and corrosion for defense, which allows for more variation, but it also means that there's more for players to learn and keep track of, where if it's all under one umbrella of Ignite, that could be, I feel like that could be better. But we'll see. All right, I'll think about it some more, but I do hear what you mean. It's just right now it seems like Ryu is the only one with a big disadvantage consistently, and then situationally other people might be disadvantaged. With that being said, thank you guys very much. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna hop off. And yeah, another game dev stream Tuesday. Watch out for like videos, because I think there might be 1 or 2 video guides coming out before the OSTs start releasing, because the OST is coming out next along with some YouTube shorts. So yeah, also something I just thought of that you will have to choose in the future: power creep or set rotations. You gotta have one or the other. Yu-Gi-Oh does power creep, Pokemon and MTG do set rotations. I would like to do power creep probably, because the idea of cards just not being playable in a certain format is weird to me. I think that's because I've only played Yu-Gi-Oh, so I've never experienced a set rotation. It's just like, I'm just imagining holding all these cards that I bought and going to a competition and then being like, no, you can't use these. But again, power creep basically makes your old cards relevant anyway. But how I would like to do power creep is, I would like to just update everything. So if you look at the current plan for Nexus, right? You see the Wandering subset, Forest Guard, Ancient Beast, those different groups. All right, cool. Now new stuff is coming up. Double subset, Stygian Gray. Cool. Ancient Beast, new support. So they get updated to keep them up to date with the current meta. So if that's your favorite deck, updated. The Daemon subset, new support. The new subset gets introduced, Jackal subset. Jackals get new support almost instantly because of the combination thing, but yeah, it's weird. And you keep on going to the next tier. Okay, new subset, Trickster subset, awesome, cool. Mystic Gear subset, new support, bring it up to date with the meta. Keep on going a little bit, Forest Guard subset, new support, new subs get added in, Wandering subset, new support. Forest Guard subset, new support. Sacred Art subset, new support. You get what I mean? So yes, power creep, but make it so that your favorite decks can still stay relevant. Like this whole section is just new support for decks that will have come out at that point. Eternal Voyagers 2 is just Wandering subset support. I just wanted it to sound fancy. So that's the plan, right? Set rotation can be detrimental if you do it too soon and too often. Power creep can at least be sort of controlled. Exactly, right? Power creep with a lot of legacy support is the way to go. Yeah, that's the plan, right? Power creep with legacy support, because I don't know. Again, it's probably because I've only been exposed to Yu-Gi-Oh, really. And Uno, I guess, but I don't think Uno does either of those things. Anyway, So that's sort of the vibe that I'm on, is to try and, because again, with power creep, if with power creep you have to get an entirely new deck, it sucks, you have to spend money. But if your favorite deck just gets updated once you've bought the base deck, oh, I have to add a new card or two, maybe 3, to keep my deck competitive, but at least I don't have to buy a whole new freaking deck every time the format changes or something like that. And so I prefer the idea of that. You might have to be patient for your deck to get some love, but you can rest assured knowing that most subsets, all before the game is even out, already have content planned to keep them relevant, right? Uno does not count. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so that's it for me. I'm gonna hop off. That's gonna be it. I'll see you guys on Tuesday if anyone's free. Hopefully Neo will be free because he's effectively the designated tester. Zane is a designated development expert, where he's coming up he's coming up with new ways to break the game. He's coming up with new subsets. We've got Nat working on lore, we've got Gear 2 working on lore, we've got Soul working on lore. I'm doing everything. I'm working on lore, I'm working on new cards, I'm working on the game, I'm working on the book, I'm working, right? But we've got a system in place and it's going well. So hopefully Neo's free to test on Tuesday. And yeah, that's it. So thank you guys. Love you guys. Have a great rest of the weekend. And I, if there's anything, I'm back on Discord. I have the app again. I didn't for a while, so if you need to reach me, it won't take me 2 months to respond. So there's that. All right, take care, friends.